There's that. Okay.
Because that is where she has her.
Hello.
Is it true your mom's like, this is your favorite character?
Welcome in, everybody. So a little bit of a late start, but my bad. So we're here. Jake will be joining us later. Oh my gosh, everybody's all switched. On my overlay, everybody's all switched. Sarah, you are now Kristen.
Cool. My dreams have come true.
Oh,
I've always wanted to be Jake.
oh. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna fix it. It wouldn't be my channel unless something's broken every time we start. Like, this is gonna be a thing.
It's that episode where everybody switches bodies, but they have the same brain.
Absolutely. Okay, no one look. Stuff is happening. If you see people moving,
that bit in the Scooby-Doo movies, the live-action ones, unlocked something in my brain. Can't lie.
That's a mood. If you see people moving, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Actually, no one is moving at all. You're simply thinking of things that are maybe happening, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. There we go.
What if I was like, ah! As you moved me around.
That would have been great. We should have coordinated that. Okay, now everybody's like where they're meant to be. We'll do a quick recap of last time. So we got to meet our lovely band of adventurers, which is so exciting. We got introduced to Renori, Raven, Tide, and Faustus. Everybody kind of having some shenanigans in Portstone's town square. We learned
a little bit of
thievery. Can't hurt. Fun extracurricular activity. We met Casper, the sort of like stupidly charming captain of the Seahawk. We met Ripley, who is in an interesting predicament with her employer, which is we'll get into that perhaps this time. We got to meet a sort of interesting cast of crewmates, including Boomstick, who has gotten a little bit close with Renori, perhaps. And yeah, everybody sort of gotten settled aboard this ship, which is now their new home, and we are about to kind of embark further on this journey. The last thing that happened last session was our party having gone to sleep for the night to settle in for our new journey after Renori and Raven got violently seasick. Everybody heard a voice kind of calling to them, and it was sort of fading in and out for some of you, but very strong for others. And this voice was soft, sweet, musical, and sort of like nothing you'd ever heard before. And I will repeat what this voice said. Travelers, you are on a dangerous path. You are not yet prepared for what awaits you. When you are ready, meet me where the 7 stars become one. I'll be waiting. And there was this sort of musical hum that occupied the air after she finished speaking. And then she apologized for the interruption and insisted that the party went back to sleep. And it seems she meant so through magical means. And everybody else was like, nah, no sleep, except for Faustus, who passed the fuck out. And is still peacefully sleeping. So that is where we are picking up today. Is just after this message. Renori, you had went to Casper to ask him, like, Sir? And he didn't really have many answers for you. It is still about 3 o'clock in the morning aboard the Seahawk. The weather is decent. Early morning, not really many people milling about, but you have a choice. Everybody who is awake, so the 3 of you. If you would like to go back to sleep, or if you would like to do anything else.
I think that Raven would probably want to find somebody else, and sorry, my mom just walked into my room.
You're good. You're so
Maybe
fine.
I'll find somebody. So she like runs past like Faustus on the top of the ship and like runs down to the bottom to find like if Renori or Tide are still awake.
Okay, so Renori and Tide, you see Raven kind of scuttle down the ladder into the crew area where everybody's sort of set up for sleeping. How does Raven look? How's Raven doing right now?
She's probably like still pale from the seasickness and the fall that she had from the mast earlier. She did not have the greatest night before bed.
That's right.
But no, she's probably just like pretty haggard looking, a little out of breath, and she's just like, "Do you guys? You heard that, right? Do any of you know what it is?"
Yeah,
So-
oh.
I was talking to you, I think, the last time we left. So I see you kind of run down, and Tide is still pretty tired, but he wants to know what's going on too. So I think, he's got like kind of bags under his eyes. His hair is, he's got a shaved head, so his hair's fine. But he is a little disheveled and like not moving the quickest. So he's kind of slowly moving and following Raven back to the where the crew is sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would have, after confronting Casper, gone back down to my hammock and kind of be sitting there because what is there to do? Obviously, apparently, there's nothing to do. So as Raven comes down and her and Tide kind of start conversing or converge with each other, I would walk over and insert myself into the conversation. I wouldn't need to go back to sleep because, as a drow, I just gotta do my little trance for 4 hours and I'm good to go.
Yes.
So I'm up, I'm ready to go. And so I walk over and jump in on their conversation, whatever they're chatting about right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Renori, do you have any idea what that was just now?
No, not really.
Fantastic. So we all know nothing.
I went and confronted Casper about it, but he seemed worried, but also confused and didn't really have any answers. So I was kind of a waste of my time, but it was funny to wake him up at 3 a.m., so maybe I don't regret it.
Interesting.
Maybe we should ask somebody else.
Who do you think would know?
Well, I talked to Chad a little bit yesterday when I first got here before I met any of you guys. He seemed nice enough. I don't know. I mean, maybe we can ask him.
You know where he is? Should we wake him up?
So Chad is, so you guys are at like the far right of this sort of crew area. And we'll say you're in like, let's say if there's 4 rows of hammocks and mats and such, that you're probably in like the 2nd row, and Chad's area is right up against the wall. So he's in the 4th row. So you could just walk around, and like go see him if you wanted to. He's right there.
I mean, do we really want to go around waking this whole ship up, or don't people need rest in order to adequately handle?
Maybe this is something that can just wait till the morning.
And especially if that was what I think it is, then they might not wake up.
Oh, true.
What do you think it is?
Did you not feel that, like, what almost felt like a sleeping spell type of deal towards the end? I'm exhausted.
I'm tired.
It was like a pool trying to lure you back down into sleep, but nah, didn't work on me. But it could have worked on all these other people who are still asleep.
That's true.
Faustus isn't here. He's probably knocked out.
Oh, right. Yeah. True. I have to remember that to keep track of people. Yeah, maybe we should just go back to sleep or whatever and then reconvene in the morning.
I mean, morning's not that far away, but
I will say that not everybody on the ship is asleep. Let's put it like that. So if conversation is the route you wanted to go to, you will probably maybe find somebody that is awake. I can't obviously tell you if they'll be helpful or not, but they will be awake.
Did we already take short rest, like in between all of the things? And the time jumps?
I believe I mentioned it last time, but if you haven't taken the benefits, go ahead and do so.
Okay, cool. I just think that we'll probably yeah. Can we see who's awake then?
Yeah, like, if I look around where we are right now, which is, below deck, is anyone else sitting up or awake around us?
If you look around, you do see a few people who are like reading or just kind of lounging, but nobody that you personally know. Of the crewmates that you recognize, they're all pretty much asleep.
They're down there though, like within earshot.
Yes.
Or like,
okay, they're not like
so
not like they're like, ooh, what are they talking about? But they're around.
Okay, so Raven 100% is going to like look, see that they're still awake, and be like, "Oh, Joe, hi, did you heard that, right? Like the voice about like the 7 stars and stuff. You heard that?" Like whisper shouting as if like to try not to wake everybody up.
Okay. I love that. Sorry, I'm like fiddling with my microphone real quick. Okay. So can everybody do me a perception check, please?
Sure. Yup.
20.
Okay.
15.
2013, 15?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can all hear this. So, as you're sort of whisper shouting slash talking, you do hear coming from your left, a sort of like a weird, almost like a scraping noise, and then little like tink, 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 and as you sort of like your conversation kind of comes to like a point of near silence as you're like, what is that? And you see a figure in the galley. They are a bit far away, but it does look like a bulky, generally male shape. Um, Kind of leaning over one of the tables, but you can't really identify the person.
Did they
You cut out for me, sorry.
I'm sorry. Did they end up hearing like my whisper shouting?
It
Or
doesn't.
no?
If they heard you, it doesn't appear so.
Oh, okay.
How far away did you say they were?
Probably like 30 feet or so.
Okay.
Knock, bro. Thanks.
Um. So I'm gonna walk over.
Okay.
Or that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go too.
A smarter idea. Oh, like I just like follow them, but like I'm the last person because I was like, that was great idea. Good job, Raven.
Good job, Raven. So as you kind of you approach this person sitting at the table, and you get a better glimpse of him. So he is pretty stocky man, sort of human man, bent over this table, and he's got dark skin, sort of like worried by salt and wind, and like he's clearly lived an outdoors life, and he's hunched over this picnic table in the galley area. And as you come in and you sort of come around the table to see what he's doing, he has his back to you. He's shelling beans. And he's taking the little husks of the beans and he's just discarding them in a little pile. And the little tink noise that you were hearing is the beans hitting a small little tin that he has. And he has a lot of tins in front of him. He's been at the bean shilling for a little bit. And as you approach, he looks up and you all kind of see this huge silver hook on his left hand. And it literally looks like the kind of hook you would use to catch a massive fish. And it is sort of jerry-rigged to his hand with bandage and rope, and it's not pretty, but it looks like it wasn't meant to be. And he looks up at you and he just smiles, and it's warm, and he goes, couldn't sleep either?
Well, you could say that.
Well, you're welcome to sit, and he gestures with the hook, to the seats across from him.
I take a seat.
Okay.
Ty takes a seat directly in front of him.
Raven, you do the
Yeah, I'm a little bit off to the side.
Okay. Raven, you do the same.
The only seat is the seat, like. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
She just like tries to move it over like a slight bit. That's like hopefully not noticeable. And just sits down.
Nice.
So Tide holds his left hand out to shake and then looks down and realizes what he did. And he's like, and he quickly grabs his hand back and he's like, I'm Tide.
The man kind of chuckles at your panic, and he sticks out his flesh hand and he goes, I'm Fishhook.
An apt name, I see.
Yeah. I really didn't win the lottery with that one.
Raven.
I'm gonna. Oh.
Because it's just like my name's Raven, and that's it.
I'm Renori, and I'm gonna get straight to the point, Fishhook. Did you hear any weird shit recently in the air?
He tilts his head and he goes, I did hear something strange a few moments ago.
What'd you hear?
Sounded like sort of a voice. I couldn't really make out what it was saying, but I could hear it. Probably, I don't know. I haven't been sleeping much lately, so chalk it up to my imagination. Why?
Don't think it was your imagination, man. Pretty sure. We all heard it too.
Well, what did it say?
Well, it seems like it depends on who you ask. But, and then I just relayed to him what I heard.
Okay.
I don't want to go over it
Yeah,
again.
we don't have to do that again. So
Blah, blah,
he...
blah.
Yes, precisely. So he sort of leans back a little bit, and you catch a better glimpse of how he's built, like just a brick wall.
Is he
of a
hot?
man. Yeah.
Okay, hot.
He's like a dilf, like
Nice.
yeah, like he's older. He's kind of got like some graying at the temples sort of situation. Like but he's definitely older, and he sits back, and you catch sort of a better glimpse of how wide this man is, and he's like, interesting. Well, I'm always down for an adventure, and I'm sure Casper will drag me in anyways, so welcome aboard. And then he squints at all of you, and he's like, are you hungry?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can eat.
So rude of me not to ask earlier. Just give me a moment. And he goes to stand up, and he sort of keeps slamming his knees into the underside of the table. Like, this is really not a situation meant for someone of his stature. And he manages to, like, turn his legs out to stand. And he goes and starts fussing with the stove that's in the room, and he's pulling things in jars down at a speed you can't quite comprehend. This is a man who lives in the kitchen. It's very obvious, just from his movement. He goes, any preferences? I can replicate pretty much anything, so...
Nah, I'll take whatever you've got.
Alright. A challenge. And he goes over to that door that you had noticed when you first kind of came on the ship and you were surveying your surroundings. And he goes like, one moment, and he opens the door. And you don't, like, because of where you're sitting, you can't really see inside, but he, like, slips in and he shuts the door. And then there is silence. And then he opens the door. And he comes back out with a bag of rice on his hip. It says rice in big white letters on the burlap sack. And you see him, like, kind of juggling a basket, and you can catch some ingredients in there as well. And he sort of bumps it closed with his hip, and he sets everything down on the counter. And he gets cooking. And it's like watching a trained swordsman handle a weapon. There's just something very graceful about the way that he moves, and just with ease. And it sort of reminds you, witnessing Casper. Obviously, the situation with Boomstick was a bit special, but it sort of reminds you, witnessing Casper go about talking to his crew. Like, there's just, this is a man that belongs here.
Love a man in the kitchen.
Love a man in the kitchen, male wife. So... You see him, he gets to cooking, and he's, like, humming a little under his breath, and, it smells great, and he starts dishing out plates. He's sort of tossed up some eggs within rice, which is creative, and, he's set, like, little loaves of bread on each plate, and he passes them out to you, and then he sort of looks at you, like, eagerly to see your reaction.
I mean, I'm not picky. I scarf it down.
Nice. It slaps.
Which would you say?
And I
That's
look.
just not-
Oh gosh. Okay. Kristen, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that, like, I give him a pleased look, like, food, yay.
He gives you a thumbs up. And then Tide, what were you gonna say?
I can't cook anything, so I'm happy with it, whatever. And he scarfs it down really quickly and just like with a little bit of food in his mouth, just goes, "This is great."
Nice. And Sarah.
Raven's pretty unaccustomed to like good food, so she's like smells it at first because she's just like I don't know, and then she takes a bite and it's just like overwhelmed with how amazing it is, and so she like kind of like eats it and like is eating it quickly but is also savoring it, and she's just like thanks, and then like just keeps eating.
Aw, that's so sweet. Okay, well, you're pleased, so he looks pleased. And he kind of like, he takes his seat back at the table, but he sits sideways this time with his legs on either side of the bench so he doesn't get stuck again. And he gets right back to shilling beans. And there's sort of this companionable quiet between the four of you. You have anything else to ask him?
Yeah, I ruined that quiet pretty quickly.
Nice.
And, I kind of lean forward and I go, thanks for the food, but, so, something that would speak to all of us, kind of a feminine voice, and that would, at the end, feel like it was luring us to sleep. Any idea on what's around us with that information?
Well, and he sort of, he puts down, you can see he's kind of using the hook to shill the beans. So he drops his latest bean. And he's like, well, we've had enough run-in with sirens, for me to pretty confidently say that's a siren. But it just seems strange that they rely on their prey coming to them. So why... I mean, it's not unheard of for maybe a pod to sink a ship. But to have one relinquish prey like that, it just doesn't make sense. I wouldn't rule out a siren so quickly. That's what it sounds like, but I'm also no expert, and it just doesn't sit right with me.
I like try to get some insight on how
Absolutely.
honest he's being. What do you want me to roll?
Do insight.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
18.
Okay. He seems to be pretty truthful. The only like point of contention in his behavior is just kind of the way he's talking about the knowledge that he has. Like, you sense that there's stories behind what he's saying, that he's just not telling you, like he's generalizing, but he seems like he's telling the truth.
Do you know anyone who would know more if you're not an expert? Is there somebody on the ship?
We're not all the brightest folk, but don't let them know I said that. I think... Well, Casper is usually the culprit of our run-ins, so you could ask him. Dolphin...
No dice.
No? Yeah, he likes to sleep. Dolphin might know. He's pretty well-traveled. No one else comes to mind.
You know where Dorthrin is right now?
That's a very good question. Let's see if he knows. If I could pull 1d20 from my bag. There we go. He does. So he's like, try your luck on the upper deck. He's, like, so weird. He loves to just be out, like, in the god-awful hours, just on the deck. like he's a mermaid or something. Like it's really weird. We all make fun of him for it.
Yeah, that is weird. And I look at Raven.
I think Tide cringes a little being a water genasi and
Oh no.
being like feeling like a little bit offended, but knows that he didn't mean it that way.
Yeah.
And then just asks, "Should we be worried about this?"
In my opinion, I wouldn't let it go. I don't think it's anything to lose sleep over until it grows into something bigger. But definitely if it's sort of piquing your curiosity, I wouldn't let it slide.
Thanks. And I stand up
Mhm.
and immediately start making my way to go to the upper deck
All right.
to find Dothrin.
Renori's on the move.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not interested in waiting around. I don't want my ship to get sunk. I heard that and I was like, oh no.
So Raven, Tide, are you going with her?
Raven kind of like looks at Fishhook and is just like, "You don't have any more of the food?
Oh,
Is there like leftovers?"
I got you. And he stands and goes back over to the stove and he says, "You want another plate or you want some for and he kind of like leans and he horribly whispers, "Snack time."
Sorry, you cut out when you
Oh wow,
whispered.
that's comedic. That's perfect comedic timing. Comedic timing. Do you want some for late? Like, do you want like a new plate, or do you want like some for snack time?
Like to go would be great, thanks.
Gotcha. And he takes like from the pot with the rice and everything and the eggs, and he mixes it up a little bit, and he sort of fusses over it like it's not hot enough. And he fiddles with the stove until he gets it how he wants it, and he dishes you out another plate. And he goes, "If you want more, I have plenty." And he hands it to you.
Thank you. And then she like runs out after Renori. Like she's just like, "I just needed to do this," and then
Okay, so Tide, Raven's made a run for it.
Tide kind of sighs, like he's clearly very tired, but he doesn't want to let this go, and he doesn't want to be the weakling in his mind who goes back to sleep. So he looks at Fishhook and says, "Thanks," and like kind of like puts his hands down, pushes himself up from the table, and follows Raven out back onto the upper deck.
Okay, so he kind of does like not a milady, but like a respectful nod, and he doesn't have a hat to tip, and so the three of you kind of make your separate ways up. Renori is a bit ahead of you, but we'll just say for convenience that you all kind of converge with Raven's speed of motion with the food, and Tide, you wanting to catch up to everybody, you sort of converge on the upper deck. Dalton is very easy to find. True to Fishhook's word.
I'm still shouting his name the minute I get up there anyway. I'm like, Dothrin!
Okay, so you emerge onto the top deck, like calling for him, and you see him. As soon as the first Dalthorn leaves your mouth, you see him. I
shout it one more time anyway.
Just one more. Okay.
I look over to Renori and I'm like, "He's right there." Shh.
And then Renori shouts it
and
again.
point to where he is.
He's out on the sort of figurehead of the Seahawk, which is not a place you should stand. And he's got like an arm, his metal arm, like wrapped in one of the ropes that would go up into the pulley system that's kind of up working with the sails. And he's just kind of leaning forward, and you can see the breeze running through his silvery locks, and he's just vibing. This man is vibing. And after the first Dalthrin, he turns, and then Renori, you get to make direct eye contact with him as you yell the second time.
Arthur!
And he very smoothly untwists the ropes and jumps forward off of the figurehead and comes up to you. He goes, "What's up?"
So, we've been referred to you for some inquiries regarding strange happenings.
I do have knowledge, and I aim to please. What can I do?
Did you, happen to hear a weird voice in the air recently?
I'm beyond relieved that it wasn't just me. Whew. And you see, just in the same way that when he had proposed, "Please help me," last time, you see that same sort of weight. Like he's somebody that carries a lot of his emotions in his body. You see that same weight slide off his shoulders.
I kind of look at him and I'm like, "Oh, what was that?"
And he goes, "Oh, you meant that kind of knowledge. Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I can, I can guess." And he does few thoughtful beard strokes to get the brain going. And he's like, "Well, the easy answer would be siren. They travel in pods, and it is very common for them to pick up on sort of our above surface culture and use it to manipulate sailors into the sea. But the message was just, it served no purpose to them. I cannot see how anyone would feel inclined to wander within dangerous range. And it was just one voice, a powerful voice, but just one. So don't, just bear with me on this one, but we might have just had an encounter with the divine. I'm not certain.
Raven immediately tenses up at this, and she's just like, she was already silent, but she's like now absolutely silent.
I see. He's like, I'm not somebody that by any means has lived a lifestyle that should put me in the crosshairs of divine intervention or communication. But there was just something about that voice, and he looks almost like wistful when he says it. I've lived a very long life, full of many tales that I would love to tell you someday. And this is the first time I've ever I felt this sense of purpose from her words. And I feel I don't know how to proceed necessarily in any sort of research, but I would like to.
Whoa there, dude. We gotta rewind. First time you've felt a sense of purpose implies this is not the first time you've heard this voice.
Not this voice specifically, but let's just say my other run-ins with, and then he does like an upward point. My other run-ins haven't been so positive. This is the sort of textbook communication that clerics use to try and sell you on joining the church. And yeah. I feel it. And he sort of turns his gaze back out towards the sea for a moment.
See, you went the divine route. I was thinking just a nosy spellcaster trying to get the upper hand on us, but I don't claim to know anything about the divine personally, so.
To be honest, neither do I. I wouldn't rule out any foul play. That certainly seems like something we would encounter. In fact, I can think of a few names already. And you see, like, you don't even need to think about what you see. You see pure just anger pass over his face, and he reins in his features. Like I said, I do not claim to be an expert, and I am not someone that should or would be on the receiving end of anything so out there, but it might be worth looking into.
I'm gonna turn to Tide and Raven a little bit, and kind of look at them before saying, is divine intervention something either one of you two could speak to? Or are we all on the same what the hell page here?
At this point, Tide's pretty tired and like pissed that he's still not getting any answers. He's like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm tired. And how does no one have an answer?
Dolthrin kind of like pats, I guess, your arm, because he's kind of short. He pats your arm, and he's like, oftentimes answers come later. So if you can't find anything else, it sounds like you've struck out a few other avenues. Am I right?
Well, let's see. I went and I pounded on Casper's door, and he was probably the most useless out of everyone we've talked to so far. We talked to each other. Raven poorly whispered at some guy reading a book, and then we talked to Fishhook, who sent us to you. So,
yeah,
no luck.
Yeah, Fishhook sending you to me is hilarious, but I
don't think it's that funny. I'm looking for answers, but
he does another like one of these, so the beard strokes. Okay.
Can I tell if this guy is like fucking with us at all?
Roll
insight.
Roll insight.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that too.
I'm gonna do it too. I'm gonna roll for
20 total.
Okay.
21.
20, 21, and Sarah?
14.
14. Okay. So we'll start with Raven. So Raven, you do see, like, where the three of you are concerned about this, he seems very... cheery isn't the right word. He's nonchalant. This isn't bugging him in the way that it's bugging you guys. You do get a sense of honesty from what he's saying, especially kind of just because he tends to wear his emotions on his face. But he just doesn't carry that same, like, okay, everybody else heard a voice from above and no one knows what's going on. And there wasn't really any change in his attitude after you told him how many people you've already gone to. For Renori and Tide, you do sense honesty. Like, he seems like he isn't lying to you. But the same thing that Raven notices, like, he's just so... like, it doesn't bother him. He's more curious about mission and this, what does this mean and why, versus the fact that it's happening at all.
Okay.
Yes. So he's kind of like stroking his beard more, and he's like, the unfortunate truth is we don't really have anyone resident in the crew. I've worked with these people a few times before. We don't really have anybody resident that knows about these things. So you striking out isn't necessarily something that's unforeseen. But
Can I just ask,
sure.
why the hell would you have a crew where no one knows about things you could encounter in the sea? Like different, you know? I mean, it just doesn't feel very planned out, is all I'm saying. Not like I can do anything about it. We're in the middle of the damn ocean now. I'm here, you're here. But, I would like to get an accurate, lay of the land, so to speak.
He sort of like you see that transparent emotion thing happen again, where he sort of like rolls his eyes and he's like, well, it's not so much that we weren't prepared, it's that we lost people. So
Oh, sorry.
no,
Renori, like, looks guilty, like, ooh.
yeah, he's like he doesn't seem like he's offended. He's just kind of like bummed out. He's like,
Raven like passed away in her brain at that encounter. She's like, oh god.
she's like, that's so funny to me. He kind of he shakes it off visibly and he's like, it's nothing to apologize for. It's part of the lifestyle, but we make do with who and what we have, and when we suffer changes, then we adapt. So I do feel... Let's back up for a minute. You said Casper was useless?
Well, sure felt like it. I did wake him up, though. He was a little disheveled, and, I mean, it seemed like he thought it was a siren, but, I don't feel like I got a lot of information out of him, but he could have been hiding stuff.
Dolthorn visibly rolls his eyes, and he's like, one moment. And you see him make a, like, just straight, like, Terminator line towards the captain's quarters.
I look at, Raven and, Tide, and I'm like, maybe I do like that guy.
Do we follow him?
Do you want to?
I'll saunter behind him a little bit, close the distance between where we're standing and the door to the captain's quarters.
Alright. So, you, I assume Tide, Raven, you guys are going to? Or you guys want to do something else?
I think Raven's okay. So she's like pretty used to not getting tons of sleep, so she's like, I'm gonna just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, Tide's at this point just annoyed that he's still awake, but he's thinking, I'm up. I haven't got any answers now. Maybe Casper will talk to me, and follows.
Oh.
Mm. Wi-Fi that everyone has to use. So,
Oh no.
yeah, okay. Sorry about that. So, you see Dolthorin, he's making this sort of straight line towards the captain's quarters, and he gets up to the door, and he just starts pounding on the door. He does not stop. And eventually, you see the door fly open, and Renori, this is the same thing that you saw Casper with his hair kind of sticking up in every direction. and he's very tired, and he looks down at Dolthor and he's like, "What?" And you hear them have a very quick conversation in Dwarvish. I don't think that you guys know Dwarvish. Do we have anybody that does?
No, but I'll cast comprehend languages.
Okay, nice. What is that? Is that just an instant self?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instant self.
Okay. Raven, are you doing? I know you have that spell. Are you doing the same, or are you just gonna leave it?
I
Good
think
thing
I'm gonna leave it just because she's like just a warlock. She has 2 spell slots.
I'm too fucking
fair.
nosy not to.
So she's just gonna be like, I'm gonna.
Okay. That's fair. So, Renori, then you will understand this. So, Raven and Tide, you just hear this heated back and forth in Dwarvish. Renori, you understand that Dolthrin is sort of lecturing him like a stern mother would a child. And Casper is kind of firing back like, it is 3 in the goddamn morning. And you are talking to me about things that do not imply the world is on fire. I would like to go back to sleep. And that's sort of the gist of this back and forth. But Dolthrin does say something that kind of piques your interest. And he's like, they asked you for help about that voice thing that happened, and you didn't tell them anything? And Casper's like, what do you mean I didn't tell them anything? And he's like, Dolthrin like reaches up. He can't quite grab the lapels of Casper's shirt, but he like grabs like lower part of his shirt and pulls him down. And he's like, you know exactly what I mean. And he points back towards you guys. So you see this conversation come to a head.
Yeah.
And he's pointing back to you guys. He's like, tell them, or I swear I'm going to find your pillow and I'm going to hit you with it and you won't go back to sleep. And he releases Casper, and Casper like dusts himself off and he scoffs and he's like, whatever. And he says that in common.
So I'm gonna like walk closer, and like stand, like within this little conversation circle, like as that part comes to a close, and I'm gonna be like, so, Captain Cutie, what you got for us?
Do you actually call him Captain Cutie?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Roll me insight.
Okay. 19.
Nice. Okay, so without the insight, you see his face kind of like go pink. But you do see him like, it's like, aw. Like you sense a sort of shift in his behavior. Like with the 19, you can tell that probably not a lot of people talk to him that way. And he, like, even if it's just a friendly thing, like, not a lot of, you can just tell from his attitude and his reaction.
Raven's like, Captain Bashful, are we?
He's like, shh, stop it. It's fine. Shh.
I'm gonna just make a mental log of this for later. Gonna write that down.
Love that. He's like, yeah, and Raven, he's like doing frantic hand motions, like, shh. And he's like, all right, now that someone, and he glares at Dolthrin, has woken me, and apparently I'm just not going to sleep today. I guess I have something to tell you. And Dolthrin kicks him in the shin. And Casper like grunts and slides a safe distance away from Dolthrin to avoid another shin kick. And he goes, all right, well, here's the gist. I wouldn't call it necessarily helpful because I don't know what voice you're talking about at all. Dolthrin kind of, from what it sounds like, you all heard something. I don't know what it was. I have had my fair share of run-ins with sirens. They are something special. I hope this isn't a siren, because not to alarm you, but that would be bad. Very bad, actually, for this specific point in time. For details that I'm not sure it makes sense to disclose, but and he's like, you can see him searching for his words, and he goes, let me just assure you this. Whatever you heard was probably something that's not dangerous, because you're all still here. And it's fine, and we should all go back to sleep. He's let's see.
Are you saying that because you want to go to sleep? Or are you genuinely?
A little bit of both?
Alright. And then, like, Raven just saunters her way over to his bed and plops herself down.
To his bed? Okay. You sort of push past him. He's like, and you lay down on his bed, and he's like, okay. And he looks at the rest of you like, I mean, if you have...
Nori, would you like to join me?
So, following Raven's kind of what seems to be the lead or angle she's going with here, but, you know, twisting it with my own special flair, I kind of get closer to him, so like our arms are touching as I'm walking past him, so I'm facing one way and he's facing the other. I'm also going to enter his room without his permission, and I'm gonna be like, what, Captain Cuddles? You don't want to
Oh my god.
share a bed, or what?
So, the sort of, like, subtle pink that was dusting his cheeks, he just goes full red, and you kind of see maybe, like, the little spots of his freckles a little bit better. And he's just like, I have no issue sharing a bed. It's not about sharing a bed. You know, it's... Tide, would you like to join us? Oh, okay, you're cutting out for me. I don't know if that's just me.
You're muted.
Muted, that's what it was.
That's what it is.
Tide walks up to him and says, you know, you're pretty cute with some color in your cheeks, and kind of walks over to the bed and sits at the end of it. Not laying down yet, but just kind of looks over at him and pats the bed.
Oh my god. Okay, so Casper kind of, like, he looks like he's short-circuiting a little bit, and he's like, thank you, I guess? And he's got a really nice smile on his face, and he goes,
Yeah.
alright, well, I guess we're having a sleepover. And Dulthrin's outside the door. Dulthrin's like, and I'm not invited. And Casper shuts the door in his face, and he goes, "Good night, Dulthrin." And he makes his way over to the bed. There are 4 of you, and this is a twin-sized mattress. So Casper kind of assesses the situation. He goes, you know what? You can have the bed. It's fine. And then Tide, he pulls out from the... Oh. Uh-oh. I think Jake hopped out, so I'm going to fix the... Sorry about the everything looking broken for a second. I'm going to fix that. So he kind of gestures over at his little breakfast table, and he pulls out the chairs, and he makes like a sort of makeshift bench, and he goes, Tide, this isn't the best this is just the best I can do. There's also the window seat, but it might be too small for you. It's your choice. I don't have extra blankets either, unfortunately. And he goes and he puts his, like, he lays down on the floor, and he just, like, pulls his little coat over. He had I don't know if I described it when you first met, but he has a scarlet coat that he wears, and he like drapes it over himself, and he curls up on the floor.
Captain, I just wanted to see you flustered for a moment. I'm not going to actually steal your bed. And Raven casts thaumaturgy to open the door, and she just leaves. She goes back to her spot back to her original spot, and she like curls up and goes to bed.
I love this. Okay.
So I'm gonna like still just kind of be like leaning near the door against the wall. I haven't like sat on the bed or anything.
Okay.
And as Raven makes her exit, I'm gonna be like, listen, I only need 4 hours of sleep. I'm done sleeping. But don't really want to let you off the hook with not talking about this some more.
And then he like sits up and he sort of gathers his coat because, you know, bed. And he goes and sits next to, Tide. Are you still on the bed or did you move?
I'm on the bed.
Okay, so he goes and sits next to you, Tide. And he goes, well, all right. And he's sort of like rubbing his eyes and trying to get more awake. He goes, well, it's not much to talk about. I mean, it is a hell of a story, but it's a little bit embarrassing.
That makes it better, Captain.
he's like, all right. To shorten a absurdly long story, I am kind of okay. It's complicated. I am both violently wanted by several pods of sirens, but also I think, technically engaged. Not something I consented to, I will have you know. And it's not legally binding, I think. Like I said, long story, kind of embarrassing, but it's fine. I just really don't want it to be sirens, because that would be bad. You see why it would be bad?
Can you, wait. Details are a little fuzzy here, buddy.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Engaged to a siren?
Alright. And, he sort of runs his hands through his hair to kind of get it to fall back in place. And he goes, alright. So a few years ago, we were sailing. Bad storm, perfect siren hunting grounds, the usual. And I got caught in one of their songs, and I jumped overboard, and apparently I am incredibly attractive to our fish folk, because they dragged me to their capital, and I was kind of... They gave me some weird stuff to eat, and they told me that it would let me breathe underwater, but it was a little bit... My memories of it are still very fuzzy. And I remember meeting their princess. And she's very lovely, by the way. The engagement thing is just more of a hindrance to... And he kind of, like, does a little bit of the thing with his eyebrows to, like, romantic endeavors. But I don't think anybody considers it to be meaningful. If anything, it's political. It's kind of cool that I have an inheritance. And he goes, sorry, focusing. They took me to the capital, met the princess, she's super lovely. Then they said something about betrothal, and then something about coronation, and then I kind of realized the big picture, and then I fled with the help of the princess, which was apparently not cool, because there was, like, a lot of politics at stake with this, so there's, like, some factions that really want my head on a pike, and some of them really want to kiss me, and I have no way of telling which is which, so we kind of just avoid sirens, period, for now. And he just does a little thumbs up, like it's normal.
You do realize that's an insane story, right?
He kind of is like, I get into some interesting predicaments. Listen, if you don't, is it about you not believing me, or is it about you not having lived?
Well, let me, run through some thoughts here. One, apparently you're attractive to some fish folk. Okay, Captain. You know you're cute. Let's just cut the charade there. Number two, what the hell? Actually, just to all of it, actually.
Well,
So the answer is you probably do know who this was. Was it your fiance? Wife? Fiance. Also, does that mean no one should kiss you? Just asking. Maybe not for me, maybe for other people. I don't know.
So hi Jake.
I Jennifer
Wow.
there's Mori real quick.
Okay.
I wink at Tide. I'm like,
I love this. Casper kind of stays, like, he goes back to that sort of red. And he goes, well, I personally would very much enjoy a kiss to anyone who's offering. But it's not about what isn't allowed. It is more so I just have to sort this out over the next few years, you know? It's like when you get in some tax trouble and the Royal Guard is after you and you have to change your name for a few months. Like, it's nothing to sneeze at. Like, well, that's the wrong turn of phrase. It's nothing to sweat over. That's the one.
Raven, I wish Raven was there.
I really wish Raven was here for this.
I should be like, pirates pay taxes.
They don't. That's the joke.
Got it.
So Castor kind of like, he's like, listen, I can at least offer you proof that it happened. And Casper sort of untucks his shirt and he starts rolling up his shirt a little bit and he pulls it up so that his side is exposed. Rockin' bod, by the way. And you see, so he kind of, okay, first of all, what hits you is the absurd amount of scars that this man has. It seems like he doesn't have a clear patch of skin on him. And it's to the point where you can identify what probably put some of the scars there in the first place. And he's like browsing this damaged patchwork of skin, and he directs you towards these 3 lines on his side, and he's like, gills from whatever the hell they gave me. And he goes, they don't work anymore. I wish they did, but they're there. And he goes, and he points towards like his lower stomach, and he goes, and that's where she bit me. 'Cause apparently that's part of the betrothal process. I didn't do that part, so that's why I don't think it's legal. But she bit me.
well,
Was a
Yes.
experience.
this is a lot to process, dude, but, I believe you. It's just fucking weird, but I believe you. You know,
Yeah, I can see how it would be off-putting, but I assure you that maybe if we run into sirens again, that I'll have it under control. So it's fine.
What confidence?
That's the way to do it. I gotta have confidence.
can I, see how actually confident he is about this?
Yes.
What do you want me to
Insight,
insight?
please. and then we're gonna go check on Faustus because he's a sleepy boy.
Raven is gonna. I want Raven to like pass by Faustus, so like she'll probably be near
Okay.
by him.
A 23.
All right. So you're watching him intently during this conversation as he's telling you about.
Oh, I am.
You've got the eyeballs.
The shirt came up. I'm watching.
I'm distracted.
I love this.
Tide is like about to pass out, but also like more hot casting.
Yeah, Tide is like,
I'm looking disrespectfully. And so he's he kind of goes like, all right. Like you see him trying to, while he's telling you about how confident he is, trying to find that confidence. He does seem like he's got stuff under his belt. Like he's done this before. And it doesn't seem like he would be entirely lost when when this were to happen again, but he's not really selling you, Renori, on the steadfast confidence he claims to have.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, Captain Cutie. I think that's enough of this story. Seems like we're kind of fucked, so... I mean...
Let me at least say this, okay? If it's not sirens, sounds like whatever it was important, and important things tend to, I suppose, be reinforced in the future. So, if it wasn't sirens, you'll probably know what it is very soon. And if it was sirens, then we'll know. And he looks a little bit nervous.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna like... I'm gonna reach out and like touch his little tummy. Like his little scarred tummy. And like look at him, like trying to like reassure him. Because being nervous is not something that I enjoy, nor do I enjoy seeing the captain of the ship I'm on be that way.
Right.
And so I'm gonna be like, okay, well, we'll figure it out, whatever it is. And then I'll just like quickly give him a little peck on the cheek.
Aww.
And then be like, sorry that I woke you up twice. I'm gonna go.
Renori
and then I'm
Tide. Can you both roll me for insight, please?
Yeah.
I love this.
22.
19.
All right. Tide. So you're watching this happen. So you see a sort of shift in his demeanor. Tide, would it be accurate to say you're a little bit oblivious?
He's oblivious to other people doing things. But he, like, if it doesn't directly really involve him, he's oblivious. So, like, any flirting that's happening between Renori and Casper, he's not seeing because it doesn't really affect him. But, so yes.
Okay, so, I mean, you see Renori, like, peck his cheek and all of this, so you're like, you know, you see it, but it's not really turning on any lights upstairs. But you do kind of realize, watching the two of them, that Casper has been sitting very close to you this whole time, and that when Renori goes to leave, that he sort of like withdraws into himself, and like that's how you notice is because he scoots a little bit away from you to sort of withdraw into himself. Renori, two things. The first thing you notice is when you do the sort of comfort tum pat, that he just a little, he like flinches, but you are perceptive enough to understand that it doesn't seem like it was a pain or a fear thing. He's probably just a little ticklish, but it's fine. He kind of like flinches and there's like a look of panic, but you read it accurately, and then
Mental note: ticklish captain.
This is a surprise tool that'll help us later. You peck him on the cheek and he goes red. And he's just watching you, and he's got like, for all of his confidence and sort of like assuredness that he had when you arrived here, it's all out the window. This is like full by panic right now. And he's sort of just withdraws into himself as Tide saw as well. Renori, I assume you are making your way for the door.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm going to the deck.
All right. And Tide, are you doing the same?
So Tide kind of puts his hand on Casper's leg, just like really quickly, stands up, and like is facing the door, and then looks back and kind of rubs his hand through Casper's hair and says, "Your hair looks sexy, pushed back," and walks out the door.
Oh my god. I love this.
Renori Tide fist fight. Sorry.
I love that this is turned into we should have called this the dating episode. Casper's kind of like, hold on, I want to see if he snaps out of this. He does.
Hey, the minute you find out you can fluster your ship captain, you must take advantage of it, because
so true.
There's a power imbalance there, so you gotta even out the playing field.
Yeah, you say that to him, and you still see all of that bashfulness from earlier, but he's like, well, thank you, and you don't look too bad yourself. And he sort of does this slow once over.
I leave him asleep for all of this.
You are out. Like, you've missed. We'll talk. We'll chat in a second.
Excuse me as I fan myself.
I love this.
He kind of smirks because he, like, that's his thing, is he can get anybody to do anything for him. Kind of like looks over his shoulder, smirks, and then just says, "Thanks," and walks out.
Nice. All right, so we're gonna go to Faustus and Raven. Faustus, you've been asleep. So let's catch you up on a few things. Faustus obviously doesn't know about this, but just for you, Jake. So you've been asleep. You heard the voice, and I will repeat the message for you. So you heard this musical sort of woman's voice that's been kind of floated into your mind, and it had this sort of hum tone that stuck with it that was just odd. And she said, "Travelers, you are on a dangerous path. You are not yet prepared for what awaits you, but when you are ready, meet me where the 7 stars become one." And then she pauses, and then, "I am very sorry about this. Just go back to sleep, please. You will need your rest for the journey ahead." And Faustus, you felt something sort of grab hold of you, like your mind. And it's not unlike wading into a peaceful sea. Like, you get waist deep, and then you're just sinking into something warm and comfortable and soft, and you're out. For what you have missed, so Renori...
I missed nothing. I listened to...
that's right, you were here.
I listened to it in my car, yeah.
Alright.
I plugged in and listened to it on my phone.
Nice. Okay, so you know what's going on. So, you, Faustus, can you roll me a perception check, please?
Sure.
Oh, I was hoping that Raven could kick him.
That's what I was gonna see if he senses right. Raven, you just want to kick him?
If I see that coming or not. A perception check, you said? That'll be 21.
Ooh.
Okay. So Raven is like on her way back to her spot, and she sees Faustus passed out, and she was like, "Oh right, Kristen mentioned that he was missing." So she like kind of like nudges him with her foot.
Okay, with a 21, so Faustus, you
Mhm.
let's check in with Faustus a little bit. You have a dream. And you have a dream. And it's not quite a coherent dream. And it's definitely not a dream that'll get me DMCA'd by Disney. It is the sort of dream that you are encompassed by that feeling that I had described of sinking and just sort of floating in warmth. But also, you hear snippets of like music, and you hear like what sounds like laughter in the distance. It's all very foggy. It's like if we could place you physically in this dream, you are probably walking through like just a vast foggy expanse right now. And you're catching snippets. Can you roll me perception, please?
I sure can. Let's use this one this time. Oh, it's a 23.
Okay. You do catch another snippet of conversation, and it's the same voice that lulled you back to sleep. And it's just something brief, but this voice says, I am excited to see what they do next. And that's the last sort of coherent thing that you catch before you're sort of rudely awakened by a foot nudging you.
Foot nudges me, and I roll upright in the hammock and reorient myself and throw my hand out, and the dagger comes out that's in my hand that it's pointed out, and the other hand comes up behind, and a snake comes out of the sleeve. Oh, it's you. I put the dagger back.
Are you always this dramatic?
It's a new place. I'm a little jumpy.
Do you know what's happening or what happened though?
I had a strange dream.
Oh, what is it? Is it relevant, or is it like I saw a bunch of flying elephants? Strange dream.
Relevant to what?
You heard the voice that happens about the 7 stars becoming one. Like, is it relevant?
You heard yes, the 7 stars meet with the 7 stars become one. I long to be there with you, but have other. Yeah, okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes. You heard that? You heard that too?
Yeah, we all heard it.
Curious.
Renori and Tide, and I don't know if anyone else on the ship necessarily made out the message, but some other people heard a voice. They thought it was a siren. Some people thought it was God.
And then, of course, the strange, foggy snippets of music and the voices.
Yeah.
And when she said that she was excited to see what we would do next, that as well.
So, DM, like, when can I pop into this conversation after leaving the captain's quarters?
You're busy kissing captains on cheeks, I believe.
Yeah, you're kissing the captain right now.
What's the rush? You know, like, we're all exploring how many hands Casper has. Like, what's the...
Yeah, okay, just wondering.
We'll say you're making your way, like, you're probably...
Hey, I just want to point out, Faustus got 3 hands.
Okay.
Alright. Yeah, you're probably making your way towards the ladder, Renori. Faustus and his 3 hands.
Did you just say there was more? You heard more?
You didn't hear that?
About waiting to meet. Yeah, she wanted to meet where the 7 stars become one.
She said she was excited to see what we would do next.
Okay. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Something wrong?
I don't know. I'm confused. I'm just going to And I like turn around to see like who's around because I'm like, can somebody please help me with this man? Do I see Renori coming up?
Renori, yeah. So Renori, you're coming probably down the ladder
All right.
as you see Faustus and Raven talking.
I like
Okay.
look at Renori and I'm like, you're smarter than me. Can you like help me speak? Because
Oh. I walk over and I'm like, oh, babe, you're smarter than you think. And and then I look at Faustus and I'm like, okay, I missed something.
Faustus has a
What?
half-eaten apple in his hand from earlier.
Nice.
So, what is, what'd you say that, has Raven over this conversation?
Oh, I guess I don't know, I heard a little bit more than the rest of you did from my dream.
Okay. Well, that means you were lured into sleep and we weren't, so that's funny. What did you hear?
Just that woman's voice saying that she was excited to see what we would do next. And then I was awakened by being, I assume, kicked in the ass, yes? Because I am in a hammock, so if you're kicking me...
Yeah.
yeah, probably right.
Yes, I felt a sharp
Raven
pain.
would
I felt
aim
a
for
sharp
the
pain in
beam.
my ass, and I awakened.
Oh, unpleasant for you.
And as he's
Okay.
talking, the snake head dips out of the sleeve and takes a bite out of the apple, and then pulls back in again.
We're gonna have to talk about that. I say, like, nodding towards
Talk about what? And I take another bite of the apple.
you know, the long worm that keeps popping up. Lilith
is not a worm. All right, she's
Yeah.
a snake.
Okay. All right.
She's very special.
She's
Am I-
cute.
Have I made my way down yet?
Yeah,
TM?
Tide, you're walking up on this.
Okay.
And so as Tide walks up, he'll catch me saying in regards to what I am going to refer to as a worm. Well, I mean, the worm is cute, but strange.
We have worms.
It's a worm?
What's wrong with being strange?
Have you looked at me? Obviously nothing.
Nice.
Wait,
It's a snake.
okay, it's a snake. Okay,
It's a snake, all right.
It's
I
a
just-
worm.
I mean, like technically, mechanically, it's an owl, but it just looks like a flying snake because it's cool.
What?
Hmm?
That confused Raven even more, and she's just like, I was gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah, I don't want to get in the middle of this. The snake is weird, and Tide goes and sits on his hammock.
Okay.
Oh, and saying it's a snake. It's actually an owl. It just looks like a snake because it's cooler. It was in character. He
Nice.
actually said that out loud.
Amazing. I love that for him. I mean, I'm done. So, like, Renori has gotten her full night's rest, but she's gonna go back to her hammock, like, just peace out of this conversation. And when she gets, like, settled in her hammock, she's gonna undo, like, one of her, like, book holsters on her thigh and, like, open it up and just start reading because clearly she's exhausted
Okay.
every lead that she has right now.
So it's probably like 5:30 at this point. Like it's been a from the time that you were awoken to now. It's been a little bit. So for everybody going back to sleep, Faustus, what are you doing actually?
I'll go back to sleep, but first, while you're reading, Renori, you hear a over your shoulder, and when you look back, you see a snake coiled around the hammock, looking over your shoulder. You look over at Faustus, and he's upright, and his eyes, his normally black eyes, are like sort of like pulsing with purple energy.
Mm-hmm.
What are you reading?
I'm gonna, like, shut the book, and I'm gonna look, and I'm gonna be
Is
like,
that a spell book?
"Can you please not use your worm to look over my shoulder?
What?
Why are you trying to read my book?
I like books.
Not your book."
Oh, well.
And I'm gonna like poke
I
at
lean
the
forward and say,
worm.
you called my snake a worm, so.
Well, I like getting under your skin, so it's gonna stay a worm.
Snap my fingers and the worm disappears.
Nice.
I'll open my book back up and go back to reading.
Okay.
Out your way. I go back to sleep because I'm a human. I can't stay up all night.
True. Okay, so
Yeah, Raven is also knocked during this whole thing.
yeah, I figured everybody's kind of settling in. So, we're gonna do a little bit of time skip. So, those of you going back to sleep, go back to sleep. Renori is reading, and Renori, for you mostly, you do hear the sort of background noise of people starting to wake up and talk to each other, go up on the decks to attend to work. The night, very much a skeleton crew, but the night crew sort of coming down to catch some hours as well. But it's pretty faint mumbling. Everybody else here, like, out cold. Renori, can you roll me a perception check with advantage, and everybody else roll me just perception, please?
Mm-hmm.
Perception, you said?
Yeah, just perception, please.
Oh, wow, I wish I was better at math. Quickly!
19.
16! 16.
19, 2 16s, and...
25.
Nice! Okay.
Rogues! Okay.
You're all gonna hear this. So, okay, so we'll start with Renori. You're in your hammock, and you're vibing, you're reading. And you've sort of, at the back of your mind been processing the conversations happening from the passing crewmates.
Oh boy, have I.
And you just hear what sounds like yelling. And it's not really like, you're like, oh, this is kind of a rowdy bunch. Like, you kind of write it off at first. But it gets louder. And then there's sort of directly above you thundering of footsteps. And you catch clanging as well. And the rest of you are hearing this as well. I'm just describing it through Renori's perspective. You sort of come to hearing what sounds like war cries coming from the main deck, which is directly above you.
This hops out of the hammock and stretches and draws his dagger. Says, finally, excitement.
Wait, so Raven is on the deck.
Raven,
right now.
okay, so you're on the deck, so we'll see, okay. That's gonna be fun for you.
Yay.
What did you get on your perception?
19.
Okay. Raven, let's say you're slouched against a mast, right? And you open your eyes, and directly in front of you are two bulbous eyes, staring back at you. And
Atoa!
no. You kind of like scramble backwards, and you see a goblin looking at you. And
Do I know if this goblin is going to hurt me? Like what intention it has?
It just is looking at you, like, with its head tilted, and it's tilting from side to side, just kind of like curious. You see like a rope wound around its arm, like it's like carrying a coil of rope. And with a 19 perception, you hear from around you the sounds of a struggle, and out of your periphery, you see a fight happening. Several, in fact.
Is it like a skirmish? But like, can I see if it's a skirmish between two crewmates, or like?
Yeah, so you kind of like look around the goblin, and you you see crewmates like fighting with several goblins. Like for every one of them, there's probably 3 or 4. It's a veritable swarm. And we're gonna kind of merge. I assume everybody's going up to the upper decks at the sound.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab
Swiftly.
Put my holsters on with my potions and shit and my compounds and time to go at Faustus and Tide. And
can I figure why are they fighting in any way?
You can roll me insight.
Sure.
And for everybody else, you are as Raven is seeing this, you are coming up. So this is going to be everybody.
16 plus 7 is 23.
Yes.
If my math is right.
You are correct. So
okay.
You can't tell an exact why. But it does look like the crew of the Seahawk, unfortunately, was surprise attacked. You can tell by the various states of dress and undress that a lot of these crew members were probably, sleeping. Some of them likely were working, but there's just something about some of them are missing one boot, and some of them just have their swords but no sheath. All of that sort of disarray, but you can't really piece together why. There's just a lot of screaming and chaos.
Okay. Can I tell who is so we were surprise attacked by enemies?
That's what it looks like, yes.
Okay, so can I tell by sight who's the enemy and who's still a crewmate?
The goblins. It's the Seahawk crew versus a swarm of goblins.
Okay.
Yes. And this one goblin's just kind of staring at you.
Oh, fine.
Can Tide come up and see?
Yeah, we're gonna get to you guys in a second. I'm gonna let Raven have a reaction to this.
Sure. So I am going to just because it was a momentary of I just woke up, there's a goblin in front of me, goblins are attacking the rest of the crew members. I'm just gonna cast Eldritch Blast in this goblin's face because I'm she just doesn't have the time.
That's a fair reaction to waking up to another pair of eyes staring at you, I think. Okay, so is it to roll to hit because it's an attack spell? So yes, go ahead, roll to hit.
Okay. I rolled 15.
Okay, and that does hit.
Okay. And then I make 1d10 damage.
Yes.
Which is this one. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
The rule of thumb is if you find the 10 on it, or you find the highest number you're looking for, that's how you know it's the one you're looking for. So if you'll know it's a D10.
Yes.
You'll see it.
Yes. Okay. A 9.
Nice. Okay. You blast. You kind of have the staring contest and then a blast. And you hit the goblin square in the chest. And it goes sliding across the deck, and there's just a singed sort of hole where you hit it with your energy, and it lies on the deck and it's limp. Yes, and we are going to, so everybody else comes up on, you rise into a battle. This could only be described as a horde of goblins. They are swarming the deck. Like I had said before, about 3 or 4 per pirate. Some of them are working in teams to sort of swat them away. But for every one that goes down, it feels like 2 more join the fray. And they look feral. A lot of them have many, like some scimitars, like fashioned out of serrated teeth and animal bones. And you see Casper at the helm of the ship, and he's got his back to the helm like he's trying to keep them off of it. And he's fighting about 6 on his own, but he looks like he's handling it. And you, as you're kind of like doing your cursory, like, what the hell is happening, you spot Ripley off to the side, and she's wearing a set of silk pajamas that have ducks printed on them. And she's got little ducky slippers, and she's got a little sleeping mask pulled up onto her head with ducks on it. And she's carrying under her arm a little, like a teddy bear that has a red ribbon around its neck. And she's just, like, looks aghast at everything that's happening. And you see her throw this bear up into the air and yell something in Orc. And there's a flash of light. And that warhammer that she was carrying when you met her falls into her hands. And Dulthrin runs from across the deck to her. And they clasp arms. And they sort of like fashion themselves back to back. And get ready for a fight. And we are going to go to a break. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
It's an American Idol.
So I'm gonna mute before I start like singing as we change the stream.
We're back. Awesome. I hope everybody had a chance to get some water and stretch. Kristen, that was amazing. Perfect timing. I hope everybody got a chance to get a snack, like a popsicle, perhaps. And stretch, take your meds if you haven't taken your meds today. And yeah, we're back.
Oh shit.
And kind of in some chaos. Oh god. Oh, we lost her.
Oh god. Med check, guys.
Med check.
It's important.
It is important if you have
Meds are more important than being back on time for a D&D campaign.
That is 100% true. If you haven't taken your meds, check in with yourself, your posture. If you haven't eaten today or you haven't eaten recently, make sure you get you some food in your system. Get some water.
Take medication on stream.
I think we're encouraging healthy behaviors, so I'm a fan. And then, come back to us. We are kind of in a pickle. I think that's a way to put it. So like I had described before the break, everybody in their various positions with Raven on the deck, sort of dealing with this, and everybody coming up, you rise into battle. Raven just Iron Man'd a goblin, and the rest of our little party here is kind of coming up to watch this happen. We just watch Ripley and Dulthrin enter combat mode, and the next thing to do is for you to do the same. Can everybody roll initiative for me?
Yeah.
And that's just rolling a d20, right?
Yes, that is rolling
my golden die for this one.
Ooh, yeah. So
First,
you roll your d20, and you should have a little initiative box on your character sheet. You can add that to your roll. It's like a modifier.
And 12.
12?
11.
Oh!
Okay. Hold on 1 second. So we got a 12. Tide got an 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm old-fashioned. I like to write everything down. Renori.
I got a 20.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. Faustus.
18.
All right. And now I get to roll for the horde.
Oh, good. Yeah. So in 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. We'll be back after it takes me 18 years. Wow, I just got 3 of the same roll. That was really weird. Okay. So we got that is okay. All right. So you all, like I said before, Ripley and Dulthrin kind of do their partner move, and end up they're near you, and you see this literal sea of goblins, and actually, as you're sort of taking in this scene, you look off to the right, and you see, at first, what looks almost like a wall. And then you realize it's not a wall, it's another ship. This thing dwarfs, the Seahawk looks like a rubber duck in comparison to this monolith beside you. And it's not like sitting beside you stationary right now. It is sort of like it's approaching alongside you, but the ship is big enough where the bow of the ship is already almost at mid deck, and you hear an earth-shattering horn, and then the slow beat of war drums. And this thing has about 4 stories, and they are overflowing with goblins. The best visual I can give you is if you've ever seen Moana, the little coconut pirates. That's a pretty accurate image for what's happening right now. It's much meaner, much deadlier. It is barreling up towards your speed. And it looks like it's turned at an angle for an impact. And you have about 10 minutes until this thing rams the Seahawk. So
Okay.
we are in initiative.
Yep.
So up first is Renori.
Great.
Ahead of you, you see there is a knot of goblins, so about 3. That's the unit of measurement now. A knot is 3. That is sort of looking at you like and they've got their various weapons, and they're kind of looking at you menacingly. There's also another group of goblins. There's about 2 that are turning their attentions towards Raven. And then there's the situation with Casper, which is happening about 30 feet away. And then Ripley and Dulthrin are to your left, and they are about 10 feet away.
Great. Question. So how far away is the oncoming ship from me?
Distance. It's like the best thing I can do is give you distance. So like sorry, not distance, time. So it's about, I'd say it would probably impact you in 10 minutes. So it's close enough to see and make out some detail, but it's not close enough for like and jumping on it or anything like that.
Okay, more specific question then. Would a attack that can reach 120 feet away reach it?
Not yet.
Okay. Then we're not going to worry about that just yet. Okay. So, at the knot... No, maybe not that. Yeah, at the knot of goblins, I'm going to cast at 2nd level, Cloud of Daggers, which I fill the air with spinning daggers in a cube of 5 feet on each side.
Okay.
Centered on a point within 60 feet of me. And everything within that. The creatures within take 4d4 slashing damage, either when it enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn, or it starts its turn there.
Okay. Alright, so you're just casting this centered on the goblins?
The little knot of goblins that's right in front of me that's going, nah, yeah.
Okay, alright, go ahead and roll damage for me. They will be starting their turn in this cloud.
That is 10.
All right. You. Oh boy. So they're they're like hissing, and they're clutching their weapons, and they're looking like feral. There's no other word. They look feral. And you go no, and you summon your cloud of daggers, and you grate them like cheese. And they sort of fall into like literal comic ribbons before you.
Oh boy. Okay.
That's fun. Yes. Next up is Faustus.
DM, we've actually not discussed this, so I'm going to ask a quick rules question on stream.
What's up?
That's always fun. Would you like to handle a familiar in terms of their initiative?
They'll just go right after.
Technically, okay, perfect.
That's how I do it. Yeah.
Right after me.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I then will look for a goblin. Are there any goblins? Are there any goblins in melee with any of my crew members?
Raven's got 2 that are approaching her right now. And there are some that look like they have the intent to approach, but they haven't quite. So there's the ones Renori just eviscerated, which don't really exist anymore. There's 2 that are approaching Raven, and then there are some that like are making the intent to come your way, but they're not within melee. So I guess the closest ones to you are the ones approaching Raven. They're about like 10 feet away, and they're walking up.
I will then sort of analyze the scene and look around and take a couple of slow steps back and just sort of twirl the dagger, and I will take a held action until something gets within melee range of one of my allies so I can try to get my sneak attack.
Okay, nice. Alright, so then next up is Lilith. What's Lilith gonna do for you?
Actually, if I may, I'd like to get up next to Raven and be within 5 feet of her.
Okay.
That way, if something steps up to her, I can strike it with melee. I don't want to throw my dagger if I don't have to.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So you sort of back and then strafe over to Raven.
Perfect.
Next up is I just threw my notebook on the ground. Hello? Where is it? There it is. This is fine. DM throws a temper tantrum live on stream. Okay, next up is the goblins in front of Raven. Raven, so you, as you see Ripley and Doltherin, because they're closest to you, so you see them do their little combo move, and they start bashing goblins and doing all. So you see Doltherin has a sword that he's drawn, and they're fighting together. Some of the goblins that are trying to overwhelm them break away from their group to face you because you just fried one of their crew members. So you've got two approaching you right now doing the same and they are going to both they go one after the other, so they're both going to try and hit you. Don't think it's going to go well, but we'll see.
As soon as one of them steps within range of me, can I take my attack to see if...
Yes.
Because there's a reasonable chance I can kill a goblin in one hit, so...
Yes.
If I can actually hit.
So, go ahead and roll to hit for me then.
Perfect. Here we go. That is going to be only a 13.
That is not going to do it.
Bummer.
So you, right. Raven, so you see them, they're coming towards you, these two goblins, and from behind you, you can't, sort of the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and you see Faustus attempt to stab the one closest to you, but the point of his knife isn't really angled right, and it sort of slides off the chest, the leather. This goblin has leather across his chest, and it slides off. And that goblin was raising it. It has a mace in its hand, and it's sort of raising it to bash you. And the good thing is that impact sort of made it clumsy, and it goes to hit you, and it misses. The other one, however, it has a harpoon, and it raises it to do a little stabby stab. And that is going to be a... What is that? That's not going to hit you either. Oh wait, no, I already rolled this. What did I roll again? Anyway. Sorry. So, does an 18 hit you? Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so it's a... I really should stop putting my dice away. That is not good DM behavior. Okay, that is a... So you take 2 piercing as this goblin drives this harpoon made of bone into your leg. Ouchie. Okay, so next up is you, Raven. You get your revenge.
Yes. I would like to cast how close is he to me?
He's within 5 feet of you.
Okay, perfect. I'll cast Thorn Whip at him then.
Spicy.
Let me just... It's a 22.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then 2d6. Oh no, one whip fell. Okay, reroll. 6 points of damage.
Okay. You get okay. Which one? Because there's still two. There's the one.
The one who did hit me.
The one who did hit you. Okay.
I like kind of like used Thorn Whip to like kind of like push it away from me, I guess.
Okay.
If that works.
I don't think you're gonna be able to push him, but we could do some flavor stuff. I got you. So
okay,
you snap out this thorn whip and you catch it across the chest, and thorns press deep into the flesh, and it like screeches and stumbles back a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then you pull the whip back out, and it does another horrid screech. And you see these various holes decorating its chest now. And it does not... It looks like it's on its last legs. But it's still gripping the harpoon with this sort of malicious intent. And Tide, it is now your turn.
So I have a question.
Yes. What's that?
I have shape water.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if I can kind of change the direction of the water coming that is going towards the other ship to kind of give us more time to push it away.
So, okay, with shape water, no. There is a stronger version of shape water that you probably don't have. I don't think you have control water. Right now. So yeah, with shape water, you're not going to be able to do something that big.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Okay, so is there anybody other than like Ripley and Casper, are there any crew members that we kind of recognize that are in battle right now?
Yeah, so like Ripley, but Doltharin is also with her and fighting. Casper at the helm, and then you have as you're watching this chaos unfold, you catch glimpses of Adrian like slipping in and out of fights. You do see Boomstick, because she's awesome. You do, as you're scanning everything, towards the bow of the ship, you see Boomstick, like, plow a line through some goblins. Like, she's got daggers, and she's chopping, but she's kind of moving as she is, and every once in a while she stops to stab as best as she can. You do see her get kind of hit a few times as she's moving, but she's making considerable progress, and she gets to the helm and starts helping Casper defend it. But those are the sort of people you recognize. You do not see Fishhook anywhere.
Okay. I would like to do Frostbite on a goblin by Boomstick.
A goblin, but what's the range on that?
60 feet.
Okay, yeah, you can do that. So, what does Frostbite do?
Numbing frost to form on one creature within range. Target has to make a Constitution saving throw.
Okay, I can do that. So, I'm not using my nice dice for the goblins. They don't deserve it. What's your spell save DC?
How do I tell that?
So it'll be on your spell.
Under spells.
Your spell sheet. There should be a little box for it.
Oh, 15.
15? Okay. So the goblin does not pass.
Okay, so I do 2d6 frost damage.
Alright, go ahead and tell me the total damage.
Nice.
Yes.
9.
Alright. So there were about 6 that were fighting Casper, and it's a pretty consistent number. For every one that he manages to cut down, that another worms in to take its place, and they're trying to get him away from the helm. Like, some of them are struggling with the helm, and he's got like one hand behind his back, like trying to keep the helm steady. And with the other, he's sort of slashing, and it's taking a toll on his accuracy. And Boomstick, of course, makes her way over. And you, seeing this happen, you lock on to one of the goblins that has managed to scramble onto the shoulders of its allies to get better leverage on the helm. And you go, "Not today!" And you see this deep blue frost start from its ankles, and then within a flash, it crystallizes. And this goblin shatters into blood-splattered chunks of ice onto the deck. But unfortunately, another one quickly scrambles to take its place. Not with that sort of leverage, but sliding in there. Alright, so I re-roll initiative to keep things fresh and funky. So can everybody roll again for me?
Heck yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. I like to switch things up.
A 4.
A 4. Alright.
19.
Okay.
Also 19.
Who has higher dex between the
I
two
have a
of you?
+5.
Yeah, that's absolutely him.
I figured. Okay, so Faustus is gonna go before Raven.
I got an 18.
Alright. Tried.
Tiny little 4.
19 first. Okay. Alright. So, wait, who got the 4 and who got the 19? Sorry. Was it Renori with the
I got the 4.
I got the 19.
You got the 19. Okay. I had that backwards. So,
I also had it backwards. How did that happen?
yeah, I mix up. I don't know how I did that. Okay, that's fine. And then the goblins.
Our names. It's fine.
Oh,
Both
the
had to
goblins
pick
are
our
not doing
names.
great. So we got. Okay. The goblins are having a rough go of it today, lads.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we want. Okay, so now, top of the order is Renori. You've just sliced this knot of goblins that was before you into ribbons. You do see one.
Faustus would be before me. He has a higher dex.
We just established this, and yet I cannot read. I literally wrote first in all caps next to Faustus, and yet it's fine. It's
all
fine.
good. Don't worry about it.
Faustus,
Okay.
you're first. So still the same thing. You saw Renori eviscerate some goblins. There's a sort of patch of 4 that's starting to approach. You're not within melee range yet, but they're like 20 feet from you. And they're heading swiftly in your direction. You've got the 2 that are over by Raven, 1 not looking so great, 1 still doing pretty great. And
Cool.
yeah, that's the lay of the land.
May I have had my familiar do a flyby and give the help action for advantage on one of those goblins in front of Raven?
You may, yes.
That's what I meant to do last round, I just did not verbalize it.
So we'll do that this round then.
Sweet.
Yay.
So my flying snake shoots out of my sleeve, circles and distracts the healthier of the 2 goblins in front of Raven, and then flies up into the rigging of the ship. Due to flyby, it does not provoke attacks of opportunity.
Nice.
I will step up, and I will stab with my dagger at that goblin. I'm going to use my
Alright.
golden die this time and see if I get a better result than I did at that crappy roll last time. That is, let's see, first roll is a 17.
Okay.
Second roll is a 19. So I think that hits.
All right, that does hit. And you are attacking the healthier one?
I am indeed.
All right. So you use the sort of, we'll just say that Lilith goes before you to make this go a little bit smoother, and Raven will still get advantage. So you use the chaos that Lilith has sort of created, because this goblin's like and sort of stumbling in circles trying to get at Lilith, and you just go like surprise and smoothly stab this goblin, and when you pull out the knife, it stumbles back, looks at the hole that's in it, at you, and hits the deck, and it is dead.
Very nice. That's what I like to hear.
Yes.
Let's see here. So, was that goblin by any chance holding a sword?
That goblin was holding a mace.
A mace? That does not do me any good. So I will use my cunning action to disengage. As a bonus action, I'll step away. So I'll just step out of melee and get a little bit back behind Raven.
Okay, that's
Probably 10 feet or so behind Raven.
Okay, so yeah, Raven, you see that happen.
And yeah, perfect.
Continue.
That is my turn.
Alrighty, now it's Renori's turn.
Yeah, so hey GM, can you let me know when the ship is within 120 feet of me?
I absolutely will, do not worry.
Okay, so waiting for that. Has it been 1 minute since my last turn, like, in battle? Would you say?
Yeah. I mean, so rounds are usually about 6 seconds, but I'm kind of bending the time rules here because we've got a sort of ticking clock. So it's, yeah, we'll say each round is more like a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, looking around, are there more knots of goblins near me or approaching me?
They're within 20 feet of you. There are 4 approaching, like, your whole group, not just you specifically. And you see some more starting to catch notice of you, but they have not made an approach. So the nearest ones to you are these 4, plus the one over by Raven that is not looking so hot.
Okay. So I am going to focus on one of the ones that's kind of nearest me, approaching me within 120 feet, but whichever one is closest to me.
We'll just pick one.
I'm just gonna pick one, and I'm gonna cast Chill Touch.
Nice.
Let me first roll to see if it even hits. Does a 13 hit?
It does not.
Damn. Well,
Does it not do anything upon a miss?
Let me find out. Then it doesn't do anything.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna step 10 feet back, and that'll be my turn.
You attempt to reach out with the grip of the grave, but it does not take a hold on the goblin that you focus on, and you're like, all right, and scoot back. Next up is Tide.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a frostbite on the middle left goblin of the horde of 4 by me and Renori.
Okay. Is it the same as I roll a Constitution?
Yeah, 15.
All right. That's a nat 20. These
goblins getting spicy.
They can't roll initiative, but they can roll to save themselves. So yeah, you attempt to take a hold of this goblin with the same frost again, but it doesn't even flinch. The ice sort of crawls up its legs and then goes right back down. Do you want to do anything else with your turn? Do you want to move or take a bonus action?
No, I'm good.
All right. So next up then is one of the okay. So this is the goblin with its last legs. That's over by Raven, and it's sort of seeing its comrades eviscerated. It's still using the last bits of life within it to try and take another stab at you, Raven. That doesn't hit anyone. That's a nat 1. it sort of stumbles towards you with this
Nice.
harpoon in hand, and it's clutching a like hand over these wounds you've inflicted, and it gets to you, and it doesn't even have the strength to stab. It plunges the spear into the deck near you, and it's sort of like just leaning on it.
Two little fingers up, Raven.
Nice. Next up is the other goblin. So this is the one that you just tried to frostbite, Tide. It is going to move towards you, so up within melee range, which is spicy. And it is going to attempt to what weapon is this one? Has a scimitar, so it's going to attempt to slash you. Does a 12 hit you? What's your armor class? I don't think it does.
15.
Yeah, I figured. So it attempts to rake one of these bone scimitars over the chest, over your chest, but it just glides off. And seeing that it done messed up, it's going to scoot back 5 feet. Next up is Raven.
How many goblins are left?
So there is the one that's just plunged its harpoon into the deck next to you, plus 4 approaching.
Okay. I am going... How far away are the other goblins? The ones that are closer to Renori and Tide?
They're about 20 feet away, and then there's one that is within 5 feet of Tide.
Okay. I'm going to cast... Okay, so Scorching Ray says that when I cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd or higher, I create 1 additional ray for each slot above 2nd, and I am casting it as a 3rd level spell.
So you get 2 rays then.
2 extra rays?
No, so you get 2 rays total.
For what spell?
Wait, sorry.
Scorching Ray.
Read the
So you create 3 rays of fire and hurl them at targets,
3.
and then at higher levels.
So at higher levels you get, what is it, 1 additional ray, or is it 2? Is it?
1 additional ray for each slot above 2nd.
So then you get 1 additional ray, because you're at 3rd level.
Okay.
So you get, it's 3 rays plus the 1 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to cast Scorching Ray at, like, 1, try getting all of them. I have to roll for all of this.
I will warn you that you are attempting to, for one of them, snipe a goblin that is 5 feet away from Tide. So I'm
rolling with advantage, though, right?
That is true. You do have advantage, but I am just saying.
Okay.
You are attempting to. I'm not discouraging you. I'm just putting it out there. You are attempting to snipe a goblin from. It will be very great if you can make it happen.
I'll try.
We'll see what happens.
I'll just go one at a time and see how I'm feeling.
All right.
So I'm gonna try doing the one in front of me first, and I just roll. Damn! I think I rolled a 14. Yeah, 14.
14.
Plus it.
Okay, so we have a 14, and then what's your others?
Oh, the other one was yeah. Oh, do you not want to do it like 1 at a time first?
Just give me all of the numbers, and I'll just summarize what happens.
Okay, so I rolled a 14, and then I'm rolling to hit the other ones now?
Yes.
Okay. That is an 18. A 22.
Okay. Wow. We got numbers.
And then a 12.
And a 12. Okay. So, 2 of those are going to hit. So we will say that, so you gather these rays in your hand and you're sort of lobbing them one by one at these goblins that are approaching you. You throw one ray. I don't know if it's really like a beam. I like to imagine it as like an orb that you throw, thus ray. So you lob this orb of flame at the goblin on the far left, and it singes like over the top of its shoulder near its neck, but it isn't a direct hit. The next one down the line is the one in front of Tide, and you sort of squint your eyes a little bit, and you like judging the arc, and you nail this one in the head. And it... Did we do damage yet?
No.
Okay, so go ahead and do damage for me. I'll tell you.
8.
8. Okay. So, yeah, you hit this one in the head, and it falls over. The next one down the line is kind of just same distance as the first one was. And now you're on a roll, and you smack this one right in the chest. Another Iron Man moment. And the last one, you kind of get a little bit, just a smidge cocky as you're throwing. And this one, you sort of whiff a little bit more. It flies past the head and over the shoulders entirely, leaving no marks.
Raven kind of like makes eye contact with Tide and like thumbs up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's... Wow. Alright. Next up is Goblin number 3. So we've just taken out 2 of them, which is pretty sick. We still have 2 more. We have 3 more. Raven, there is still one next to you, who is struggling. He's not able to do anything right now, but just resetting the scene. There is still one next to you, who's struggling. Plus, we have now 2 that are approaching. So we have the one that, we have 2 like that are sort of bracketing. You took out like the middle ones, so you have them now approaching this knot of you guys. So the one on the left is going to attempt to, after seeing what happened to his buddy, he isn't touching Tide right now. He's going to take his chance with Renori. Kind of a stupid decision, but I'm not really in this guy's head. Okay, Renori, does a 16 hit you?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. This goblin also has a scimitar. Twinsies with the other one, which is not super great. And it is going to... it's going to do 6 damage as it rears back the scimitar and slashes across your torso. And those teeth kind of dig into you a little bit.
Okay.
It is going to stay within melee range, though, because it doesn't have great brain cells.
Good thing I'm a melee character.
Right? Isn't that convenient? And then finally we have the other goblin, who is also going to approach. This goblin is going to, unlike its other companion, attempt to go after Tide again. Faustus, you are getting lucky. This goblin is going to approach you, Tide, and attempt to hit you as well. That does not hit you.
My name does mean fortunate or lucky.
You are very fortunate. Tide, this goblin attempts to, like the one before it, kind of drag the scimitar across your flesh, but it just scrapes off of your armor. Alright. And we're gonna roll again. So everybody go ahead, give me your initiative when you're ready. The ship, this enemy ship that's approaching is now 8 minutes away, so not within 120 feet yet. But it's on the way.
That one.
Oh no.
15?
Okay.
18.
Alright.
14.
So we haven't...
So same order. Run it back.
18 and a 14.
From the top. Yeah,
Yes.
14.
Make it drop. That's a lot.
Wow.
I was about to say
Macaroni in a pot.
That's I was
Wow.
about to say wet ass goblin, and then I realized my mistakes. Then I said it anyway. So now everybody's miserable. That is a wag. All right, that is. Oh, we are not doing
Wet ass pirate?
Somehow that's worse. I don't know how, but somehow that's worse.
Is Tide technically a wet ass pirate, given that he's a water genasi?
Is he a pirate? But is he a pirate yet, though?
We'll find out.
Find
He's
out.
baby.
He is baby. I cannot deny this. So we got okay. All right, we can work with this. We got this one is. Ooh, yikes! Hate to be this guy. All right. So, top of the round is Faustus. What you doing?
All right. We got goblins. Is there a goblin next to anybody currently, or did those all get melted?
We have a goblin that's within melee range of Tide, and we have a goblin within melee range of Renori. And then there's also one within melee range of Raven right now.
I will step up to Raven, sensing the derision at being used as a human shield. And Faustus is just sort of whistling a tune. He's like, whistle while you work. Nice. And he's going to come in he's going to cast the spell Booming Blade.
Nice.
And as he goes to stab with the dagger, purple, like lightning energy just sort of like crackles around the blade, and he's going to stab towards that Gobby.
All right.
That is an abysmal roll as a 14.
Oh no, yeah. Your blade crackles with energy and you surge towards this goblin. But the point hits the armor, and it does not go through. And the energy, I assume, would just fizzle out, or does it stay after a fail?
It fizzles out because it did not hit.
All right.
So that is that. I will bonus action. Faustus just sort of like drops his shoulders and rolls his eyes. And he disengages. So I'll see you in a minute. Steps back behind Raven again, another 10 feet, and then he will have Lilith swoop down to the one in front of Tide this time. And
so helpful.
Just swoop and then go straight back up into the rigging again, right. Giving the help action for advantage on that one.
Tide, you will have advantage on your attack. So just keep that in mind when it's your turn. Okay, so then next up is the goblin that's right by Raven. Seeing that its last attempt was not successful, it still has a little bit of dying breath in it, and it's going to make another attempt to stab her with this harpoon. Still not doing great in the rolls department. This goblin manages to yank the harpoon out of the deck and try to plunge it into Raven yet again, but this time his knees sort of go wobbly and the harpoon goes sideways and back into the deck. And he starts trying to pull it out again. That's his turn. Next up is Renori.
Great. So, where are the goblins? How many are left?
There's one in front of you. There's one in front of Tide. And then there's one by Raven.
Okay.
So 3.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna go after the one right in front of me. What I am going to try to do is I'm gonna try and use Ray of Sickness, so I need to roll and see if it hits.
Alright.
Does a 17 hit?
A 17 does hit. Yes.
Excellent, so I'm gonna now roll damage. After I roll damage, they then have to make a Constitution saving throw. If they fail that throw, they're poisoned until their next turn.
Ooh, okay. What's your DC?
the DC is 14. And the damage is going to be 7
Ooh.
total. So I'm going to
Wait.
cast right.
What's your DC again?
The save that they have to make
Yeah.
is 14.
Okay. What if it passes? Is it canceled or is it half?
No. So what happened? They get the full damage because I hit. The save is whether or not they're poisoned for the next round or not. So they still get full damage.
Okay, I see.
The save is about how if they stay poisoned afterwards.
Okay, all right. And how much damage?
So
you said 7.
That's gonna be 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to do anything because that's enough. So you you cast Ray of Sickness, and this goblin in front of you like starts hacking violently, and audio is crunchy. That's what I get for having bad Wi-Fi. Sorry, chat. So you see it sort of start coughing violently and blood spills through its fingers and it just falls over. Now, okay, do you want to do anything else with your turn or is that your turn?
Nope, that's my turn.
All right. So, you next up then is going to be Tide.
So, if I have advantage, how does that work if you have to do a Constitution saving roll?
So, you have advantage.
It
doesn't. You have advantage on attack rolls. So if you want
Okay.
to melee the goblin in front of you, you get advantage. But if you do anything else, unfortunately, it doesn't work.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try it again. Frostbite on the one by me and melee range of me.
Okay. So that is I just do the save automatically, right? You don't have to roll to hit.
Correct.
All right. Let's see what this little dude gets. That is a 14. Does that pass?
You need a 15.
All right, so it doesn't pass. So what's the damage?
Nice.
7.
Nice. You a bit annoyed that this goblin attempted to attack you. You cast Frostbite on it, and you see that same frost starting from the ankles and the feet just encompass this goblin, and it crumbles apart into little frozen fleshy bits, which is kind of gross. Next, do you want to move or take a bonus action or anything?
So at this point, the only goblin nearby is the one by Raven, correct?
The one by Raven, yes.
Okay.
There are still goblins over by Casper and Boomstick and over by Ripley and Dolthrin, but the number has gone down. I will say that.
Okay, I'm gonna do Misty Step
Okay.
as a bonus action. To move myself, I can teleport up to 30 feet. Does that get me?
30 feet.
Yeah, so I want to go 30 feet.
30 feet will
Go
put
ahead.
you right at the helm with Casper and Boomstick. If you want to go over there. But Ripley and Dolthrin are within 10 feet. They're like right next to Raven.
Can I go like 20 feet so I'm not in the middle of the helm?
Yeah, it's
with the
max.
horde. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go 20 feet towards Boomstick and Casper.
Okay, so this is how I like to flavor Misty Step. So you all see Tide sort of lean forward like he takes a step, and fog twists from around his feet and swirls up and encompasses him, and the cloud dissipates, and you see the same motion happen in reverse about 20 feet away, and there he be. All right.
Some Nightcrawler shit right there.
Exactly. That is the reference. Next up is Goblin. Okay. there are no goblins. No, wait, there's one more. I'm having
Come on down, Goblin number 4.
Goblin number 4. They don't get names. What did I just do with this one? No, there are no goblins anymore. Because it's
Isn't that one by Raven?
I thought there was one by Raven.
That's the one, the one that won't die. I was trying to figure out where they went. Okay,
The one that keeps resisting my attempts to kill it.
Yes, Faustus has been extremely helpful this entire.
Hey, I killed one.
This is so funny to me. Raven, he's going to take the spear out of the deck again and try to hit you again.
Mm-hmm.
Mans is persistent.
Sometimes it be like that.
Does a 16 hit you?
Yes.
He's rewarded for his efforts. With this sort of like he sees, you know, his comrades falling, and he gives like a little screechy war cry and rips the harpoon out, and with what seems like a surge of adrenaline lifts this harpoon and then once again into your leg. This time more forceful than the first, and that is going to be that's going to be 3 damage as that harpoon plunges back down into your leg.
Raven curses.
That's an appropriate reaction. All right, and then Raven, it's now your turn.
I am just gonna Eldritch Blast this asshole like I did the very first person, and ooh, fuck! I rolled a 12.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it.
Yeah. Shit.
You gather the energy around your hand and you reach out to blast it, and it hits. It makes contact, but you just see the energy sort of dissipate against its chest. Like this second wind has invigorated it. Like your casting wasn't strong enough, but you did make contact with it. All right. So round 4. The ship is now 7 minutes away. Actually, no, it's not. We're at a fun point. So you fun for me. You hear the same horn that you heard when this battle started, and all of the goblins kind of go like this screech of joy, and they're like hoisting their weapons and they're did any of you speak Goblin? I don't think so. I figured. They're all chanting something in Goblin. It's repetitive, so you assume it's one word. And then they go back to their attack more invigorated than before. And as you turn your gaze towards the ship that's plowing through the waves towards you, it appears to be moving faster. Rather than 7 minutes away, it is now 4 minutes away. That's not good. And that doesn't seem natural for a vessel of its size.
Don't like it.
You shouldn't.
For my turn, I don't like it. I'm just kidding.
You should not like it.
So does that
120 feet
mean...
away?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it is. The bow of the ship is now 120 feet away from you.
Sick.
So give me 1 second. It's round 4. Okay, you guys can go ahead, roll. Tell me your rolls.
16.
17.
15.
11.
17. Tide. What did you get again, Tide?
15.
15. And then Renori was an 11.
Yes, 11.
All right. We still have Goblin number 4, who just refuses to die. Let's see what he gets. Love this for him. He's having a great day. Oh, he's having a great day now. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger indeed. All right. So just
Extra stronger.
I'm gonna call him Kelly Clarkson now. That's his legal name. You are now.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
You're going against
Stand a little goblin.
Stand a Little
Oh my
Goblin.
God.
That's yeah. So Kelly Clarkson is the top of the order. And he is going to attempt to, after a successful stab, Raven, he wants your blood. He's going to attempt to put his harpoon in a place with more vital organs now.
So dark.
Does a 10 hit you? I don't
No! God!
Kelly Clarkson has flown too close to the sun. He
Kelly Clarkson / Icarus.
Icarus Clarkson has flown too close to the sun. He grips
What a
the
name.
harpoon and screeches out a war cry and attempts to drive it through you. But in his approach, you see this happening, and you manage to sort of swivel, and the momentum catches him off guard, and the harpoon goes back into the deck as he stumbles and on the miss. Oof. The rise and fall of Icarus Goblin. Icarus Clarkson. There we go. Raven, it is now your turn.
I'm gonna try just keep going with this Eldritch Blast. Try that again.
All right.
Nat 20.
Yeah.
Get him.
You
Yeah.
decided
Finally.
you putting an end.
I had enough.
You had enough of Kelly Clarkson. And you gather energy and it sort of crackles up around your wrist and threads through your fingers, and enough is enough, and you blast him. And it
For
just
8 damage.
it goes
Get wrecked.
through him.
Yes.
Another
Direct Icarus Clarkson.
Icarus Clarkson is no more. And he falls to the deck atop one of his other comrades. Next up is Faustus. You have, there's about 4 goblins that are harassing Dolthrin and Ripley to your left. And then you have Tide, who is going to take care of, he's on the way. There are about 5 over by Casper and Boomstick at the helm, trying to take control of the helm. So you have options, but there are none that are currently turning their attacks on you. They just seem to sort of be bothering and fighting other crewmates around you.
Trying to take control of the helm, you say? Unacceptable. How far away is the helm from me?
You are about 30 feet from the helm.
Sweet. I will run up to the helm, and I will attack one of those 5 goblins
Okay?
with, once again, a casting of the Booming Blade cantrip. And we will see what we get this time.
Raven looks amazed as Faustus just runs past her finally. She's just like, oh.
Nice.
Yeah, hey, when the time is right. That is an 18 to hit.
Fucking rogues.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna do
I would
it.
like to, if I may, I'm going to target a goblin that is actually in melee with one of the people by the helm, if I can.
Yeah, there's several. But you pick one. You want to get the one getting Boomstick or the one getting Casper?
I'll go for the one getting Casper,
Okay.
and that is going to be 22 damage.
Nice. Are you throwing your dagger or are you just stabbing?
I am just running right up and just stab.
Alright, so Tide, you see Faustus kind of he's going. And he passes by you. And Faustus, you run up and you sort of hit a slide. And you use your momentum to plunge the knife into the goblin that's sort of pushing against Casper for control. And you eviscerate this goblin. I don't even need to describe it. It's like it just you unwrite it from history. And
I think that since Booming Blade does thunder damage, I pop the blade in, and then the thunder damage
yeah.
does a little Explosion.
Is now a cloud of pink and green goo.
there is a slight, unfortunate cloud of red that hangs in the mist.
Question.
Yes.
Are there any of the 4 remaining goblins by the helm? Are there any still next to me at this point?
They're pretty much all around you. Like they're all
Sweet.
converging on it.
I will bonus action dodge and no, I don't want to do that. No, not if they're all next to me. Are they all in melee with me?
Not with you.
All 4 of them?
No.
Oh, okay. What I'd like to do is I'd like to run away, but I'm just curious how many attacks of opportunity I would take if I do so. Using my bonus action dash from cutting action.
You would take 1 tops.
Sweet.
They're very
I'll
fast.
take it.
Alright.
I dash and I run back to Raven.
Oh my god.
Alright, so
Same spot as I was before.
does a 17 hit you?
Hit me, Batman. 17 just hits, yes.
Oof. Okay. You're running, right? So all of these goblins are sort of focused on getting the helm with this vicious intent. But as you're backing up, like you're trying to get out the way, one of them takes notice of you and like draws what weapon does this one? This one would also have a mace. Takes its mace and clubs it, and sort of like it doesn't get stuck in you, but the spikes graze your back, like down your shoulder, and it is not pleasant.
Says, "Ah! No! Ouch!"
Not very lucky. It just brings me delight seeing Kelly Clarkson crossed out in my notebook because he's dead. Okay, so Faustus, you are able to get away though, even though you do sustain that, which I did not tell you.
How much damage should I take?
Yeah. That is going to be 5 damage.
No, it's not! It's gonna be 2 damage because I use Uncanny Dodge as a reaction.
Oh,
as
okay.
the mace swings towards me,
You kind of you bring everything in.
Yes. Uncanny Dodge as a reaction halves the damage.
Nice. So you kind of like draw like your shoulders, I guess it would be back in this case, to give yourself less surface area, and the spikes still graze you, but not as deep as they would have. Excellent.
Yes. Very nice.
And you manage to get to where you're going. Next up is
Sweet.
these goblins.
Very quickly, I will have my familiar swoop down and grant advantage on the next attack against one of the goblins by the helm.
Okay, so Tide's heading there. So Tide, we're gonna apply that to you. I assume because you assume you're gonna be the next person to make that attack.
Sure.
So just remember that you have that. Okay, so next up is a goblin, and by the helm. So Tide, you witness Faustus kind of take this hit, but you also see him take out a goblin, which is kind of spicy.
Rad.
You see one of the goblins that's crowding the helm, sort of harassing Boomstick, take notice of you, and he's going to attempt to hit you with an arrow from his short bow. So let's see if this... Does a 15 hit you? You don't think so?
I have an armor class of 15.
Okay, so then that would hit you. So you see it. They knock the arrow and they release it, and that is going to be Oh, that's not, it's 2 damage as this arrow kind of plunges into you. All right, Tide, it is your turn.
Okay, well now that he's been hit once, he doesn't want it to happen again. So he's going to use mirror image to create the 3 duplicates.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Okay. Do you want to do anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay.
I think that's all you can do.
All right. Alright, so everybody see, sort of two versions of Tide split out, from him, and there's like a sort of shuffling that happens, like when you're watching him, like in your head, like kind of like those cups, you put something under him and you're shuffling, but you see it happen to the point where you don't know which Tide is Tide.
So I think there's 3 plus me.
Okay, so it's 4. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
4.
there's 4 of me now.
Okay, so yeah, there's 4 of Tide now.
The last second, one more squeaks out of him.
It's like a foot shorter. So, okay, so that's Tide's turn. Next up is Renori.
Okay, so from where I'm standing, can I see... So the oncoming ship is now 120 feet away.
Yes.
Can I see kind of like the lower half of the bow that's like closer to the water?
Yes, you can. So you can see, it's sort of shaped like a cruise ship, but a little bit more primitive, like in the sort of stylings of the deck. So you have like a half of the ship that has a deck that goes all the way around, and then a sort of top half stacked on top of it, kind of precariously, but it seems like it's fastened. And the goblins are primarily on this top half, but there are quite a few crowding at the bow, like they are rearing for an attack. Yeah.
So, I have a question about something I would like to do.
Alright, hit me.
Can I fire at 3rd level magic missile
Okay.
towards like the bottom of the ship so it starts taking water in?
Yeah, I don't see why not. So do you want to concentrate your darts into one spot? Or
All
try to
of them.
do separate?
No, all of them like at that spot to try and get it to start taking in water.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Okay.
Okay, so at 3rd level, it's 5 darts.
Wow. Okay. We love to see it. Okay, wizard flex.
Okay, so and it just hits.
Yeah, it just
so
hits. You
like
don't have
there's
to roll.
no. Okay, so I will roll for each of the 5 darts.
Okay.
So we've got 5 damage. 3. So that's math is hard. 5 damage on the first one.
Okay.
3 on the second. 4 on the third. 4 on the fourth. And 2 on the 5th.
All right.
All at the boat, so I want sink it, I want to hurt it.
That is 18 total damage. So you concentrate these darts, and we'll just say you kind of you create them within your palms, and you sort of twist until they concentrate as one bundle of energy, and you lob it at the ship, and they plunge into the bow, and there's this loud crash as a section of the ship just is sent inwards. And you see it start taking on water.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, that's my turn.
There is also a cacophonous screech of panic from all of the goblins at the bow who just saw you do this.
Excellent, good.
Yes, and all right, and that's the round. So next, everybody, one more.
$17.
Okay.
19.
All right.
11.
12.
All right. And he got... The goblins are having a horrible time today. All right. That is... Oh, okay. All right. So, first up is Raven. You do see Tide. You saw the whole thing with Faustus, and then you also see Tide, and there's now 4 of him. With kind of dealing with the stuff at the bow, and then you also have just to your left, like right next to you is Ripley and Dalthrin, and they are dealing with 4 goblins that are fighting them. So you have some options, but there are no goblins currently with their attention on you.
So there are 4 to my left.
There are 4 to your left, and then there are 3 that are at the bow of the ship, which is 30 feet from you.
Okay.
They're fighting for control of the helm.
Got it. I am going to cast. Are there any that are like currently trying to? So like the 4 are all 4 currently trying to attack?
They are all focused on Ripley and Dalthrin, the ones that are to your left.
Okay. And then the 3 are just kind of like.
The 3 are 30 feet away from you, and they're all focused on Casper and Boomstick. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery
Ooh.
at one of the goblins trying to get at Ripley.
Okay. I love
that.
I love Vicious Mockery. Okay.
They have to roll a Wisdom saving throw of 14 or higher.
Alright, let's see. They're not good at that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they are really not good at that. That's a 2.
Nice. Alright, I have to do 2 d4s.
Alright. I always let people choose what they're gonna say for Vicious Mockery. So if you don't want to do the customary string of insults, you can also flavor it however you want.
Okay. I'm just going to like. It's like not even gonna be like shouting. It's just gonna be like a tiny whisper into their ear, being like, "Your mom wishes that you would do better in life. She's severely disappointed in your choice of career, and she won't vocalize it out loud, but she's severely embarrassed by you."
Oh my god.
It's just 2 hit damage.
And that does psychic damage. So how much is the damage?
2.
Alright, so there's a goblin closest to you, right? We're gonna say you just say it, not really a whisper, because you're not close enough at this point to whisper directly in its ear. But you say it casually. You're not straining yourself. You don't need to. And you let this goblin know that his mother would be very disappointed in him. And you see him look at you with like glittering eyes, like just look up at you, and there's just like a Studio Ghibli tear that rolls down his cheek.
Oh no.
And you deal 2 psychic damage as you undermine the very soul of this goblin.
No.
Alright.
Oh god.
Next up is Renori.
Okay.
Same situation.
So, can I see, like, who is steering the ship within 120 feet?
You don't see any outward helm apparatus from where you are.
Okay. Excellent. That's fine. I'm wondering, am I able to tell with, like, my passive, like, perception and insight and investigation, can I tell if there's anything magical going on with the speed of the ship? And, like, with my arcane knowledge and stuff?
Go ahead and roll me Arcana.
Okay. 18?
Okay. You cannot, so we'll say you combine your general intelligence and assumptions about how ships not powered, obviously, by a motor work, and then also your magic, you can assume that there is some interference happening here. You cannot tell exactly which spell is being used at the moment, but you can tell that no ship should be able to go from like being 8 minutes away from you to like 4 minutes away from you. Like that's and that at that speed and the size of this vessel.
Okay. So I am going to, because within 120 feet, I am able to cast Dispel Magic.
Oh.
I am going to cast that at 3rd level. So what that says is, any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. For any spell of 4th level or higher on the target, I have to make an ability check using my spell casting.
Okay, so it is... What level is this? I'm consulting the sacred texts. Okay, you're gonna have to roll for me.
That is fine. I'm just figuring out what to roll.
You're fine. Dispel magic is... I want to say off the top of my head that you have to roll for your spellcasting ability. So whatever.
Yeah, I do. What is my spell? Where do I find
Int.
that?
It's just your int
It should be your
modifier.
intelligence because you're a wizard.
Okay.
It's D20 plus int.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. That is a 21.
Nice. All right. So
I don't
you.
spell anything in the known universe.
That's pretty great. You like lock on to the ship and you make an effort, and it's sort of like what's mentally feels like pulling a rug out from like not even a rug. It's like if you've ever seen people do that trick where they pull the tablecloth out from under the dishes and then all the dishes still fall where they were. It's like that, but magically you sort of pull the spell out from under the ship and it halts. Full stop. Like, you would expect something of that magnitude to keep moving. It stops. And with the hole in the front, it's going down fast. Now that it's sort of lost its momentum. And you hear wailing from the deck around you. And equal wailing from the ship as all of the goblins realize, oh no. And start to panic.
Oh no.
Is that all you're gonna do with your turn?
Can I just with my bonus action yell at everybody and be like, "Don't worry, I'm paying attention to the ship headed towards us."
Nice. That's not you don't even have to. That's not even a bonus action. You
Okay.
can just
Okay.
speak
So that's my turn.
Casper looks back over his shoulder, and you see him wrestling with goblins, and he goes, "Thanks."
He's just like, "Are you throwing a hint, Renori, or what?"
Nice. Next time on Dating the Captain. Okay, so after Renori, Faustus, what did you get for initiative? Do you remember? I didn't write it down, apparently.
12.
12, thank you. Okay. So, after Renori is Faustus.
Hell yeah. I will... I will run past Raven, and having heard her vicious mockery, Faustus, as he runs past, turns and is jogging backwards and just says, "I like this side of you," and then turns and runs over to one of the ones by the helm, and is going to do another booming blade at a gobby.
I'm loving the goth besties that's happening right now.
That is going to be a 25 to hit.
Oh my god. Okay. You lock on to another goblin. This one is wrestling Boomstick. So there's two in a stack, and the tallest one is fighting with her, and she's pushing back.
I tap him on the shoulder. Tap.
Nice. Okay. And then in front of them is the goblin that took aim at Tide, so you ignore that one entirely. So you go for the one that's directly on Boomstick, and you do your little tap tap.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like,
tap tap. He turns and just not quickly, just like put the dagger against him and then just slide it in.
Nice.
And then extract it. And a few seconds later, he from the booming blade. That is a total of 21 damage.
I can't even. Okay, so you you just you unplug this goblin. You unplug its life force. And seconds later it realizes it has been unplugged and does a fatal shutdown. It explodes.
God.
A little bit of blood spatters on Boomstick's face, and she just kind of like does like the little like, and she smudges some of the blood away from her lips, and she's like gross, and smears it on her coat. Next up is Ripley.
Real quick, the familiar dips down and is going to give the help action to one of the other ones by Boomstick to try to give her a little bit of help. And on the way back up into the rigging, grabs a little chunk of Goblin from the one that just exploded and then shoots back up into the rigging.
Okay. Lilith helps out. We'll just give that to Boomstick then. Lilith helps out Boomstick and then takes a little snack for later. All right. So next up is Ripley. Ripley's been smashing away at goblins with Dulthurin helping her, and Ripley and Dulthurin are having the time of their lives right now. Ripley's still in her PJs and her little ducky slippers, which are now smattered with blood. But she is... It's like watching someone play baseball, but the baseballs are goblins, and she's just driving her warhammer back and forth and sending goblins overboard, and then another one will scramble up or climb back up from the... There's like one persistent one that keeps scrabbling up the side of the deck from where it's been thrown overboard, and then she bonks it and it falls back over the side. And she's going to try and take a definitive swing and just crush one entirely. And she does it because she's hot. It's real hot girl shit. So you see Ripley bring her hammer up, and just like I imagine it makes a squeaky toy noise, but it makes contact, and then this goblin is flat.
Yeah, she's sick of motherfuckers trying to tell her how to live. You know?
Yeah, precisely. You get it. It is in fact hot work summer. Dulthurin is up next. Dulthurin's gonna attempt to make sushi out of some goblins. Ooh, but he does not do it. He attempts to, you see him attempt to slash upwards, but the goblin manages to jump out of his range, speed running the NPCs. Alright, and Casper and Boomstick are not doing so hot. Trying to protect the helm is taking a toll on their accuracy, and you see goblins managing to, like, you see one kind of get a tiny hand, like, on Boomstick's face, trying to, like, push her down into one of their crewmates' weapons, and you see Casper has his blade, like, against him with a sharp edge, sort of at this goblin that's in front of him, but the goblin's pushing back, like, it's not even aware of the damage it's doing to itself with its hands pushing on the sharp end of this blade. It's just trying to get it sort of like a leverage.
Yes.
Yeah. They're feral. And alright, so the ship has now, Renori has now stopped this ship in its tracks. Tide, you didn't go. My bad. Tide, it's your turn.
Okay, so Tide's super pissed about the arrow still.
Yeah.
So he looks at the one that shot it at him and wants to do frostbite.
Okay. It's a constitution. Does an 18 pass? I think so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You attempt to summon another frostbite, and this goblin sneers at you. And yeah, so with that, we've now finished another round. Renori, you stop the ship in its tracks, and it is taking on water quicker and quicker. This sort of main deck is sinking down towards the sea level. And you can everybody roll me perception, please.
19.
Okay.
A
So-
9?
19,
27
9,
for Faustus.
27, and
13.
13.
It's like Raven sees the ship.
Raven,
That's it.
yeah. Raven, you see the ship and you see the damage that's been done to it. Everybody else, you do see on the top deck a figure that stands distinctly taller than the other goblins. Who, it was a 27 for Faustus?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna be able to see this clear. The Renori and Tide, you just see this figure emerge. Faustus, you can see in detail that this creature like draws a weapon from its back and points it at your ship. And everybody can hear this, but Faustus, you see this. There's a sort of like cacophonous screech, like again that had happened when the ship had sped up, of like victory, and everybody's chanting. And you see goblins from that ship start leaping overboard and scrambling through the water to get at the Seahawk.
Oh no.
Everybody else, Renori, you're close enough where you would probably be able to like see some of the diving action that's happening, but Faustus sees it. They're coming, and they do not look happy. So I am not going to put you back into initiative, seeing as some things are about to happen. So just give me so we are officially out of initiative at this point. The remaining goblins currently on the deck are harassing. There's the ones that are harassing Casper and Boomstick. There's the ones over by Ripley and Dolthrin. And now Casper, can I have Tide and Faustus roll me perception, please? Renori, you too.
Hey,
9.
Okay.
24?
24.
Wow. Okay. So
Twinsies.
Raven, this is something you won't see simply because of where you are right now. Tide, you aren't going to be able to see this as well. You're just not focusing on the right thing at the right moment. But Faustus and Renori, you do see something quite curious. Casper has his back up against the helm. And he is sort of, I'm pulling out the special binder, so you know it's spicy. Casper's got his back up against the helm. And he's been like this pretty much the whole encounter, with his fists, one of his fists wrenched behind him to try and keep the helm from being overtaken. And you see a sort of pulse of energy off of his body. And the goblin that's been wrestling with him for his sword, like, rears its hand back, and you see this sort of teal glowing energy run through the goblin's hand and into its skin. And it looks at him, shrieks in surprise, and is eviscerated.
Ooh.
Hot.
Very hot. And with that now off of his shoulders, there is still one more that's actively trying to get to him, but he is able to get a hold of the helm. Boomstick manages to kind of kick one sort of out of the way, and she's wrestling with the remaining ones to give him space. And you see him get his hands on the helm, and he's trying to steer away from this ship that's approaching you guys. And so Ripley and Dolthrin manage to clear out the other goblins that are near them. Ripley with precise, like, bonks, and Dolthrin kind of throwing them within bonking range, slicing, the works. There are a lot of them, but the rest go down with this sort of, Renori, you have stopped the imminent threat, and it gives everybody a sort of a second wind. So, out of initiative, everybody is able to get a better look at the ship. especially now because it's lowering. As these goblins are attempting to tread water and get over, and not a lot of them are good at swimming, and a lot of them are unfortunately drowning. But the ones that are alive and angry are trying to make their way over to the Seahawk. But as the ship is sinking, you get a better glimpse of this figure. Raven, you for the first time, everybody else for the second time, that's got its weapons. It's like sort of a sword. It's like a combo between a sword and an axe. Think of, if you're a DBD person, think of like Trapper's situation. His weapon. That's what I'm going for. And he's got it leveled at the ship like he's pointing. And you get a better glimpse of him. It's a hobgoblin. So he is taller than his comrades, but of the same complexion. And he's got this thick black hair and a sort of balding pattern. Like he's got none on the top of his head, but it's like down here, it's growing out. And he's wearing the slick black armor. Like, it looks like pretty good. And as he sees, he kind of catches everybody's gaze. He smirks. And then the cries from the goblins grow to this massive point. Can everybody roll me a dexterity saving throw, please? Renora, your face.
I'm so good at dexterity, it's amazing.
You good, Raven? Oh, we're having crises. This is the I don't know how to dex crisis.
It's not just that she doesn't know how, it's that she rolled a nat 1.
Rolled a nat 1!
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You guys are...
Oh, boys and girls.
I'm a 1. Yeah, 1, because my...
So we got
it's
two
a 0.
Tied.
Oh, well, it's a 2, but I feel like it's just not
Yeah,
gonna help.
1, a 2,
Makes
a
me
12.
feel better about my 14.
And a 14. Wow. All right. So you can hear these goblins trying to make their way, but you hear a sort of rumbling, and then the ship pitches violently. Like the nearest side to the ship tilts down very suddenly, and everybody yells. As people, boxes, rope, goblins, weapons, everything goes flying. And everybody's sort of sliding down this new angle. Ripley manages to... So Dolthrin, like, stabs his sword into the deck, and Ripley manages to grab hold of him. She's kind of heavy, so she drags them down a few feet, but they're good. Renori and Raven, you are tossed from the deck. And you plummet into the sea. Right. Faustus, you slide as well, but you hit the railing, like your back, newly injured back, so that doesn't feel great, hits the railing, and you manage to get a grip on that, but you are dangling very close to the sea. Tide, you also managed to get a grip as well, but not nearly as secure as Faustus. Your legs are in the water. You managed to grab, like, the tail end of rope that was fastened to something. But this is not a secure grip that you have. We're in a bit of a pickle. Raven and Renori, can you both roll me athletics, please?
I'm so good at athletics checks.
Are y'all good? Yeah, I would expect you to be good, seeing as you're not built for this.
Yeah, and while this is going on, can I have, my familiar Lilith sort of flying in a holding pattern about 60 feet above, away from that hobgoblin, about 60 feet away?
You may.
Okay.
Am I in a position... So I have two questions.
Yes.
One, am I currently in a position where once it is my turn at some point, I can cast a spell? And two, if not, since I'm amphibious, can I cast a spell if I'm in the water?
You could cast a spell in the water. That's pretty likely. It depends on the spell you're casting. If it has a somatic component, likely no, because you will need your hands. You'll see when you look at like what a spell does that it'll say like V, S, or M and have different combos.
Mm-hmm.
If it has the S, no.
Okay.
You
So,
you know what I'll do? You know what I'll do? If it has the S and it's something you want to cast, I'll let you try and do a saving throw to cast it. So that's up to you if you want to take that risk. You risk falling off, but with a good roll, you could stay gripped. It's up to you.
Okay.
So, for that athletics check, that's a 5.
Cool, Raven.
What if I told you I rolled another nat one?
I would feel very sorry for you because that's horrible.
Yeah. Yep.
The plunge into the sea is disorienting for both of you, as it should be. You've just been flung from a ship. What was horizontal is now almost vertical. So that's to be expected. We're gonna check in with Faustus and Tide in a second because some stuff is happening. But the two of you are in the water, and the sudden impact of hitting the water has both of you very disoriented, and you are finding it incredibly difficult to tread water. You are not actively drowning, but you're not having a good time, physically or emotionally. Faustus and Tide, the ship does not stay pitched. Like a spring released, the Seahawk pitches back the other way. So can you please roll me another dex saving throw?
Like a teeter-totter?
Exactly like a teeter-totter. Like as if somebody pulled a rubber band and has now released it.
You're still here?
That is a 15 for Faustus.
13.
15, 13. Okay, so you... the ship pitches back up. Tide, this actually launches you onto the deck. Yay! You no longer need to worry about the somatic thing. Faustus, it's not pleasant, but you are slammed into the deck. You're both on solid deck. The ship is rocking more than before, so if you try to initiate any sort of like combat actions or anything like super crazy, you are going to be dealing with some rough terrain as the ship is sort of settling back in. So your movement not going to be great, but we will roll with it as we're going. Raven and Renori, you are still overboard, and there's like, you can see now this train of goblins trying to make its way to the Seahawk. It's like half of what initially jumped off the ship, which you would think is great, but there's maybe 10 or 15 of them trying to, like an ant, like just like a colony of ants, like form themselves into a pillar to drag each other up onto the deck.
World War Z!
Exactly like
Oh,
World War Z.
yeah, like World War Z.
Exactly like World War Z.
Well,
So you witness this happening. They're not quite at the deck level yet, but they're getting there. For every one that's falling, they're still making progress. Yes. And then for Faustus and Tide, there are no goblins currently with their attention on you. In fact, the remaining goblins have been pretty much taken care of. There's just the ones that are overboard. Faustus, you have Lilith circling this hobgoblin who doesn't appear to be doing anything. He's just sort of watching this unfold as his ship is going down. And what are we doing, friends?
I'm assuming I don't have a short reed or a piece of straw. Is that correct?
You would, I think, because you're a
If
druid.
you have a spellcasting focus or component pouch, unless it has a cost, then you
Yeah,
should be good.
assume that you have the materials on hand to cast what you prepare, unless it's something that seems very like special
Okay.
or has a listed cost.
And is... Okay, and I can see Renori and Raven.
Yeah, you can see them. They're floundering.
Okay, can I do water breathing on
Okay.
Renori, Raven, and then I'll do it to Faustus too, because I can do up to 10 people, just in
Nice.
case.
I love that for us.
So the 3 of them.
Do you want to give it to some of the goblins too, since you've got 6 more?
Ripley, Boomstick, Casper, and the other guy.
Okay, so everybody feels a sort of, especially Renori and Raven, you feel a surge of almost like additional oxygen. And it's like very weird. It's like contingent on your contact with the water. Like as you're sort of struggling to stay with your head above water, every splash of water that hits you in the face or something like that, it doesn't really affect you. In fact, you're breathing just fine. And it sort of takes some of the panic out of it. Faustus, you still feel this insurge of oxygen. But yeah, nothing really changes for you that desperately.
Nice. If we have a moment here to act, what I would like to do, I know that there were some goblins with short bows on deck at one point.
There were.
I look around the deck for a short bow.
Yeah, you can you roll me investigation, please?
Sure, I can do that. That is an 11.
All right. You look around. You do see a short bow, but it's in the water.
That's all right.
All right.
That's all right. I'll cast Mage Hand.
Yeah.
Pick it up and pull it.
Yeah,
to
it's
myself.
not like I need to be picked up. But...
And then I'll look over at.
It.
It can only pick up 10 pounds. I imagine you probably weigh more than 10 pounds. Not to comment on anybody's weight. And then I believe Tide was shot at one point with an arrow. Is that correct?
Tide was shot. Yes.
I walk up to Tide and I say, "Can I borrow this?" And I grab the arrow and rip it out. And I can't.
Wait,
I use my.
roll me strength. Roll me strength.
Sure.
You get the arrow out.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. It's
Oh,
not
this
gonna be
is
good, but-
horrible. This is so bad.
I know.
That's 13.
Okay. So you saunter.
Tide,
up
I'm so sorry.
You saunter up to Tide. You're like, can I have this? And it doesn't come out on the first pull. So Tide, there's just this surge of pain as he tries to yank it out, and then eventually he goes in with like a renewed grip and 2 hands and pulls it out, and then continue.
I cannot attack because I use my action to cast Mage Hand, but I notch it in the bow, and I aim it at the hobgoblin on deck,
Okay.
and my familiar swoops in
To help.
and gives the help action to get advantage on a shot. But I'm now holding, I'm on the deck, I have a bow and a single arrow, and I have advantage on a shot
All right.
at some point in the future.
So we'll come back to
Hopefully.
you in a moment. Raven and Renori, what you doing?
Vibing. I can't get myself up on the ship.
That's fair. Raven, do you have any ideas?
I don't think I could get mine onto the ship either.
Okay.
None of the goblins in the water are within like touching distance from me, right?
Not touching distance. No, they're like 10 feet from you. They're close.
Okay.
So if you wanted to move up to them, you could, but they're not already within your range.
Gonna like the only thing I can do is I'm just gonna shout at the people on my boat and be like, "Can somebody get me out of here? Tide! Aren't you supposed to be good with water? What the hell?
Let you breathe, woman. What do you want from me?
Get me out of the water!"
I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast at the hobgoblin. Can I do that?
You could. You're gonna have it with disadvantage, cause angles and stuff like that. But you can. I will let you make an attempt.
Point of order, Raven. At 5th level, your Eldritch Blast, is actually 2 Eldritch Blasts.
Oh,
You cast it
is it?
at 5th level, yeah. And then at 11th, I believe it's 3, and at 17th it's 4. So you actually get to attack twice.
Nice. Okay, so you can go ahead and
Nice.
take your 2 rolls, but they are going to be a disadvantage. You're in the water and
For
at
both of
your
them?
roll. Yeah, disadvantage
Okay.
for both, but you can still try.
Ooh. I still rolled a 20, not natural,
Okay.
for the first one.
And then give me the second. And
Second.
then also go
one.
ahead and do damage.
The second one is only a 10.
Okay. Oof. All right. So the first one, that's fine. Okay. So the first one, you sort of like you sort of like swim backwards a little bit, so you can just see him over the lip of the ship, and like you're tossing a ball, sort of up at an awkward angle, you gather this energy and lob it upwards, and you see it just arc up, and you see it make contact. You see him stumble backwards. Faustus and Tide, you see what you assume to be, from Raven, because you recognize these sort of blasts by now, arc up from the waves and hit him, and he takes it pretty hard.
For 9 damage.
9. Okay. And it leaves a significant singe on his armor. And it looks like it hurt.
Nice.
We are going to go Tide. What's happening?
Help.
So are they within 30 feet of the boat?
They are.
The ship?
Yes. They are about
Okay.
10 feet away.
Okay, so I'm gonna do water walk
Okay.
on the same 6 people.
All right.
So if they're submerged, they should be able to go to the surface.
They are. So,
And so they should be able to go up 60 feet per round, and then they should be able to move across any liquid
okay.
as if it was solid ground.
So you see, all right. So you, Renori and Raven, like, like trying to submerge like a rubber duck. You fly up to the surface because you're not that deep in, and you are standing on the surface of water. It's like trying to stand on jello, but you're not quite going in. Your feet sink in slightly. Actually, it's more like trying to walk on a water balloon, but the water balloon is huge and can support your weight. And you are now able to make your way to the Seahawk, and it's a little bit of an awkward point to end at, but I am gonna end there. Gonna wrap up a little bit early. Thank you guys as always. I love you. Mwah. You guys are an amazing group as always. This is so fun. Chat, thank you.
Glorious DM.
Love you guys. I do what I do because you make it fun to do. So, chat, thank you guys so much for coming out. This is awesome. If you haven't seen all of episode 1 or you got here late, the VODs will be up on the channel, and I apologize for spotty internet. Doing my best. We're rolling with the punches. Hopefully that's something that's going to get better in the future. Please make sure you go and support this lovely, lovely cast. We have the links in chat. And, just thank you for being here. Keep telling your friends and keep tweeting about us and retweeting the going lives. That helps us support and do this and get more resources. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a good time zone. Everybody's kind of in a different place, but make sure you take care of yourselves. Remember that you matter. And yeah, we will see you here next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.